intellectual thinking, and word puzzles just require you to get the joke they're going for. But the stupidest word puzzle I ever got, and it was from the I talked about it in the video where I talked about the guy that got put on shower watch because he'd always be dropping these riddles at us that were just word puzzles. Is you're in a room with just a table and a mirror, and there's no other way to get out. There's no windows. There's no doors. How do you get out of the room?
Oh, well, I've heard of this one actually. Hang on a second. It's
Don't
like
fucking Google it.
no. I fucking know this from like Boy Scout days because I remember this shit.
Okay.
It's like I remember there's like a see what you saw type thing. Hang on a second.
Okay, go on. I hate this puzzle so much. This started the joke of we kill Rick and eat him because we just got so tired of these fucking riddles. I'll give you a moment.
I'm trying to remember. I remember there's a see what you saw.
Ask, do you got it? Know what it is?
No, because I don't care.
There you go. See, there you go. That's yeah. The real solution is you kill Rick and you eat him. But
oh, well, there we go.
yeah, but do you know the
we just solved it.
Do you know Rick's solution, Randy?
Yeah, we kill him and then that's it.
No, he told on us for repeating that joke and not listening to his puzzles, and we got in trouble for that. We got told to stop saying that because it was bullying. The solution, according to Rick, is you look in the mirror and you see what you saw. You take the saw, you cut the table in half, 2 halves make a hole, you claw out the hole and leave. That's not how physics works, Rick. That's not how physics fucking works.
Yeah,
that's just
that
a
was something
stupid word association.
I remember that being a thing from fucking Boy Scouts. I remember that.
I hated it so much. I hated it so much.
I went through Boy Scouts, and luckily I'd never had that stupid question asked to me.
Because hopefully by the time you're a little bit younger than us,
Hopefully it aged out.
Mask, yeah, hopefully it aged out because it's stupid as shit.
I'm older than you.
Like, you're in your 20s, aren't you?
Still? No. I'm probably the oldest one in the room.
How old are you?
Fucking
no, I'm 35.
baby ass Zach.
Wait,
baby
you're
Runga.
You're how old, Sean?
I'm 35. I'm 35.
Why did I think you were in... God, well, you look younger than the rest of us, so that's probably why I thought you were in your 20s still. I also might be confusing your age with my buddy Alex, because you guys look and sound enough alike.
Zach, you're not beating the baby girl allegations. I don't know what to tell you.
I also get you... It could be worse, because my buddy Stork is moving back to Virginia. And when I first met you, Randy, you look and sound enough like Stork that I would confuse you with him sometimes. And I was like, wait, did he... I was like, how do I know? Wait, no, but no, it's not him. No, wait, hold on, what? And you would post stuff on Facebook sometimes, or he would post stuff, and I was like, oh, Randy's still... Wait, no, that's Stork. And, or, let's see, you post... Oh, Stork's still... Wait, no, that's Randy. Anyways. Okay.
Yeah, well, there can only be one.
The point of this rant. I'm sure you guys are aware of the Nintendo lawsuit against Pal World.
The one about the PAL spheres?
Yeah, it's primarily about the PAL spheres, and it was their patent infringement lawsuit. And let's start with saying I think it's very stupid that you can patent a basic game mechanic. Like, I get the concept.
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah, I could with the Nemesis system. The Nemesis system.
Yes. And
that's
no exactly.
One can use it. No one can use it because we want to patent it and then never use it again. It's bullshit. I don't think you should be able to patent game mechanics. I get the concept of patenting like specific code and stuff like that, but to me, like, a game mechanic is just a general idea. It's like the fact that like Scott Cawthon can't patent or can't copyright the concept of like what is it? You can't copyright that style game of Five Nights at Freddy of animatronic horror. He can't copyright that because it is a general concept. It's I forget what the term is for it, but it's a term that basically means it's a general idea. It's not a specific IP or character. You can't copyright that. I don't think you should be able to patent specific game mechanics, but that's what the lawsuit is about. The lawsuit is about whether or not you can patent those specific things. And I did research for this one because I saw something on Facebook and then I did more research on it. I was like, oh, this is bullshit. But here is hold on. Here is the basics of what those patents are based off of. Now, I will start by saying the patents are patent number 7541 or 7545191, 7493117, and 7528390. And I pulled the patents up here, but what they amount to, what these patents amount to, is the concept of throwing a sphere in a 3D plane in which a creature or something will pop out of, it will alter the state, or it'll try to capture something, or it'll pop out in the direction that the sphere is flown, blah, 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 blah. So Nintendo was basically suing them for the fact of back before they patched it, when you would summon a PAL, you would actually throw your sphere out, and the PAL would be facing that direction. Or when you're trying to capture a PAL, you would throw a sphere, and you try to capture them. And they got that patent when they released, or they got that patent after the fact, based on the fact that they released Legend of Arceus, which you can do that in Legend of Arceus. But Pocket Pair came out with a game before Pal World, because Pal World came out after Legends of Arceus, came out with the game before Pal World that had that basic same mechanic. So that's where the controversy of is the patent even valid? Because would they be able to get that patent to begin with? Anyways, that's the basic of that concept of what that that copyright issue or the patent issue is about. Now I'm going to share it so you don't have to watch stream. I'm going to share my screen on Discord. Yeah. I'm going to share the screen in Discord. I saw something on Facebook and it infuriated me because I've said 1,000 times that I love Digimon more than Pokemon. I love Digimon so much more than Pokemon. This is, and the article that was on Facebook was like, Pokemon is constantly innovating new ways to play the game, and look at this new fantastic innovation. Here is the trailer. Here's the gameplay trailer for their new Legend ZA. Are you guys watching?
Not yet. I'm in a hell dive, but I can put it up. I actually already seen the trailer for ZA. Is that what you're showing?
Okay, yeah. So you'll hear this part and you'll get it.
This game offers a style of Pokemon battling not seen in previous titles. Moves can have a longer or shorter reach, or different areas of effect.
Hold on, turn it down.
So choose your timing and positioning carefully to gain the upper hand. Lead your partner Pokemon through battles and dodge incoming attacks. Swap Pokemon if you need to and find the right moment to unleash a move.
So you see what they just did. You see what they're super proud of right now. You see what happened? You see they're super proud of. They come up with this idea of being able to move around the battlefield and swap your Pokemon out when you need to dodge attacks, like they just did. They showed off, pulled the Pokemon out to dodge an attack, threw a new one out to do an attack. What is one of the #1 strategies in PAL World for how to beat a difficult fight? Since you guys aren't answering, one of the #1 strategies I've seen.
He answered.
What?
Oh, did you hear me? I said it's the same exact thing.
It's the same exact thing. Get into a fight, and oh shit, attack's about to come. My pal's about to die. Oh shit, pop him out, and then switch them out. Also, they're super proud of moving around the battlefield to dodge attacks. That is straight from fucking PAL World. That is straight from fucking PAL World. But you want to know where else that's from? You want to know where else that's from, guys?
A Digimon?
Pokemon Conquest.
Digimon. Hold on. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to quit out of here real quick, and I'm going to show you something. And I have this game courtesy. I had it on PlayStation, but I have it on computer courtesy of UMass because you bought me Digimon Next World.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm going to quick show something. Oh my god, I don't care. Go away.
Digimon World, next order.
I will say right now, it is still showing the YouTube screen.
Oh yeah, whoopsie. Damn. What's up, Venom? Go away. Okay. Have you guys played Digimon? Have you played much Digimon?
Yeah, I've played quite a bit now.
Not this one, but I have played other ones.
So you understand the basic concept of Digimon battling. Now this game came out before Legends of Arceus. This game came out in like 2017 or 2019, I can't remember. But it came out long before Legends of Arceus. And look at this. It's monsters that I control. I don't care. It's monsters that I control in a 3D plane. But also watch how the battles happen. Because this is even more like what Pokemon is doing right now than anything. Oh my god, I don't care. I wish I could just turn off all the tutorials. I've played this game so much, just not on computer.
All Pokemon games except Pokemon Sword would never.
Oh my god, stop. Yeah, I get it. There's a world. Fuck off. Yep, that's a Digimon. I get it. There you go. Now, unlike in Power World, where you can just run away from a fight or avoid a fight, Digimon has it so you initiate a very specific fight. Huh. Kinda like Pokemon Legends of Arceus. Yep. Hold on. Oh, you can use items to regenerate in the middle of a fight. Stop with the fucking tutorial. Oh, look at that! The Digimon are moving around and walking around in a 3D plane and having attacks selected. And oh, look, you can dodge the attack by getting out of the way. Oh my god. It's so amazing that Pokemon came up with this and Digimon went into the future and stole it from them.
That's right.
It's so... How dare they?
So wait, did they try to patent that?
Did Pokemon try to patent this?
Yeah, no, yeah. What's the just the fact that because the patent was about the spheres, right?
The patent was about the spheres, but Pokemon sued Pow World because of copyright infringement, stating that like, oh, we had this idea first when they really seemingly have not had the idea first, and then are talking about how innovative and amazing they are because they came up with this new idea of fighting in a 3D plane where you can pull your Pokemon out to dodge attacks and move around to dodge attacks when that's been existent in Digimon since the fucking beginning. And I will prove that here in a second because the first Digimon game that I ever knew of that wasn't the Tamagotchi.
Can I go ahead and throw out a counterpoint?
Okay.
They said never seen before in Pokemon, not that it's never been done before in other games.
You're right, they said never seen before in Pokemon, but they're real quick to defend their patent and their fresh idea when Pow World did something that they didn't like. They're real quick to
No, I hear you.
So, to prove that it's been around for much longer, I have this one up. I have this video up. One of the first Digimon games I ever played, and it's why I love Digimon more than Pokemon probably, was Digimon World 1. And here's Digimon World 1 came out in 1999, and that's an important date to remember because I did my fucking research, guys. I did my fucking research about this. It's not common for me, but I did.
Prior to 9/11, you're right.
It's prior to 9/11, which means it's more valid than anything because everyone knows that conspiracies didn't start happening until 9/11. This came out in 1999, and that's an important year to remember. January 28th of 1999, very specific date. It's important to remember. This comes from World of Long Plays, which is just a YouTube channel that does long plays of video games without commentary.
Am I supposed to be seeing something?
You are. Oh shit! I'm so sorry. It's not supposed to be me. I almost turned. Here you go.
Love the confidence.
Yeah. This is a bunch of creatures walking around in a 3D plane to do attacks and potentially dodge attacks. Now, that's an AoE attack. But this concept is something that Digimon had since the very first Digimon World game. So I'm pretty sure if someone were to apply for a patent for it, they would be the one most capable. Stop doing the same attack. But you also see... Hold on. There we go. They're walking around in a 3D plane, doing attacks, potentially dodging attacks. Like, Greymon just dodged that one attack and missed him. And up here, where you see, where it says attack right now, they also have the ability to put on defend or evade, which makes them walk around more to defend their attacks and to dodge their attacks. So very clearly, the same type of game mechanic that the Pokemon Company would be going after Power World for, the same concept of a core game mechanic, is something that they have straight up stolen from Digimon and then showed off the style that you would do, because you can't remove your Digimon from the field in Digimon like you can in Power World. but they showed off the style of movement you would do in Power World. How you doing, Triana? They showed off the type of movement that you would be doing in Power World.
Am I wrong, or in this video, is it just that they set the Digimon to attack and then it just auto attacked over and over?
Yes.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding.
You can tell it what to do sometimes in some of the games later on.
In the original Digimon World 1999, you would just set attack and you'd have a core set of attacks that they would switch between. But in the modern ones, like the one that I just showed, you would actually select a specific attack, similar to how you would in Pokemon. And it's not turn-based, which is one of the things that Pokemon was averaging. It's a non-turn-based style of combat. So in the future ones, you would set a specific attack that you would want them to do, and they would go do that attack. But they would be moving around and doing attacks in the meantime as well. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, that's the only thing that they stole from Digimon. No. Digimon very specifically, since the Tamagotchi and then in the 1999 game that came out on January 28th of 1999, had the concept of eggs. Your Digimon would hatch from an egg. When were eggs introduced in Pokemon?
Gen 2.
In Gen 2, exactly. When were eggs introduced in Pokemon in Generation 2? When did Digimon World 1 come out? January 28th of 1999. When did Generation 2 of Pokemon come out? Well, let's look here. Generation 2 of Pokemon was released in Japanese release was in November something. Hold on. I'm even gonna get the Japanese so people don't try to come on. Oh well, the Japanese one released first. Hold on. In Japan, came out in November 21st of 1999 was when that came out. So almost a year later, 10 months later, it came out with the eggs. But you might be thinking, oh, well, maybe the eggs were introduced in the anime first. The concept of Pokemon coming from eggs, the same way Digimon come from eggs since the game and the anime came out. Maybe it came out in the anime first. Well, when did the first Pokemon egg appear in the anime, I ask you? Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. Oh, well, when did Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon come out? November 21st of 2000. So almost 2 years after it came out of Digimon. So a core mechanic that they started adding into the Pokemon games was just taken straight from Digimon again. And yet they are out here suing Power World because, oh, you throw spheres in a 3D plane, which is something that Power World Pocket Pair did first. And I
rewind that last segment. So you're Power World.
What?
Plane.
What are you saying? You're cutting out for me, man.
Oh, what?
He was saying first that spheres is what he's saying.
Power World didn't come out before Legends of Arceus, but Power World released a game. Pocket Pair released a game that had a very, and I know this because of I watched a Pirate Software video. And I thought, go away, stop it. Hold on. Pocket Pair released a game before Power World came out and before Legends of Arceus came out that had the exact same concept of throwing a sphere in a 3D plane. See if I could get it to pop up to capture monsters, capture creatures. And that came out long before Legends of Arceus came out. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. It's Craftopia. Here it is. Craftopia came out as...
Also, if we want to go further, then... Digimon didn't have that concept first either.
Who had it for
the egg stuff? Creatures from 1996 and Creatures 2.
Creatures from 1996. Hold on. Okay, so there you go. But this isn't in a 3D plane. This is on a 2D
Did
plane.
have egg hat. We were talking about egg hatching. I went back to egg hatching.
Okay, so egg hatching, yes. Digimon might have stolen it from Creatures, the Albion Years, which is on Steam right now if you want to check it out. It's from 1996. It looks like a cute little game.
I think really what Nintendo or Pokemon had an issue with was the fact that it was the patent on the sphere. It was pretty much a patent on the Pokeball. And so they were saying, I think, that the spherical shape of Power World spheres infringed upon that. I think that's really what they were going with.
But
Because there's a
the
lot of
patent
color
is
capture.
specifically about in a 3D plane or in a 3D world. So here's one of the ones: a player character to perform various types of actions on a field in a virtual space. In a first mode, is a turn based on second operation based on input. The player character is caused to fire items that affect a field character placed on a field in the virtual space in the aiming direction. So this requires the fact that it's in aiming directions requires it being on like a 3D plane. And all of these are based off 3D planes. And they applied for these patents. Yeah. Application for this patent happened in 2024. The application for this patent was in February of 2024. 2 years after Legends of Arceus came out, but the year that Power World came out. But after Power World came out.
So I think another thing to consider is just copyright, such as like if you make something and put it out there, the protection of someone not just taking what you've made and stealing it and using it their way. So I think that would plays a big part in what we're discussing.
But it's not a copyright infringement lawsuit. It's a patent infringement lawsuit.
No, I agree.
And the copyright, if they had gone for a copyright of any of the other stuff, then one, I can have a counter to that, because one of the big ones is Riolu and Anubis are basically the same thing, or not Riolu, Lucario and Anubis are basically the same thing. Cool.
But they're both inspired by Anubis.
They're both inspired by Anubis.
Yeah.
So it's not like Pokemon came up with something fucking unique and we're like, oh my god, they stole this from us. Watch like Gaijin Goomba's videos, his Yokai Hunter videos or Yokai whatever videos that are just about all the stuff that Pokemon has taken from like lore and history, because so much Pokemon are based off of lore and history. So they're saying the same thing.
I would argue it goes a little further. Because it's not just about the way it looks, it's also the way that it moves. It's very much exactly like Lucario in the way that fucking Naruto runs too.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but it's distinct enough for it to be parody or for it to be whatever. And if they had gone for a copyright infringement lawsuit, I would have been like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But they did this shady thing of over a month after Power World released. Power World released on January 19th of 2024. And a month after it released, they retroactively tried to patent something that was a characteristic that was already something that Pocket Pair came out and then tried to sue them for that patent infringement. Meanwhile, they're doing the exact same thing. And what I am genuinely hoping happens is Bandai. Yeah, it's who? Digimon. I think it's Bandai. Yeah, Bandai Namco. I hope that they retroactively patent the concept of things fighting in a 3D plane without a turn-based combat system that are monsters, and then go after fucking Nintendo for it. Just not even with the hope that they win, but just as a fuck you. Just as a you did this, we're going to do this to you now. And I hope they do win and they get enough money and they make a Digimon Go, because there needs to be a Digimon Go, because it makes more sense.
Can I throw out one more thing?
Uh-huh.
We started this conversation talking about how fucked up patenting video game concepts is. If Bandai were to go and do that, it would ruin it for every other
But they could do the
person as well.
exact same thing that,
Right.
Edward Jenner did.
All we need to do is just say, fuck you, Nintendo, you don't win. And then we don't patent shit anymore. That's all we need. We don't need
the best one. That is, it's Jonas Salk. Jonas Salk invented the polio vaccine, or one of the polio vaccines, and then just made it publicly available because he had the right to the patent and just said, no, it's publicly available. Bandai Namco could do the same thing. Do I trust that they would? No. But they could do the same thing, retroactively patent it, and then say, everyone can use this because fuck you, Nintendo. And I hope Pocket Pair wins some sort of lawsuit that they get the patent and say, everyone can do this because fuck you, Nintendo. But yes, ultimately, I don't think the concept of patenting a game mechanic is a good thing. Patenting specific code in a specific way that a game mechanic is actuated in that code, sure. but because that's actual like work product. That is we created this code. I want to have right to this code. Same thing if you create a new way to make an engine, you can patent the new way to make an engine run. But patenting the concept of a car is bullshit. Saying no one
Yeah.
else can make a vehicle that uses combustion in order to propel itself forward is bullshit. And I don't think you should be able to patent mechanics either. But no, the moment I saw that, because I've been a Digimon fan I preferred the anime over it. I preferred the Tamagotchi because I had a Digimon Tamagotchi and I had a Pokemon Tamagotchi, and I preferred the Digimon Tamagotchi over the Pokemon Tamagotchi. I preferred the game more. I don't know if Digimon ever had cards, but I probably would have preferred those more too. And then seeing Pokemon, seeing that thing. And especially because the article thing I read was talking about how innovative Pokemon was. That's what got me. That's what got me like, oh, I want to talk about this. Because it was talking about how innovative Pokemon was for this thing. And half of it was just stealing the fighting style from Power World of pull your pal out really quick before it takes damage and then pull another one out and then put it back in and dodge and move and dodge and move. But also, Digimon basically did this thing first. The only thing that's different with Digimon is you cannot move your player character around or pull your in the middle of a fight or pull your Digimon out in the middle of a fight. You just have to flee the fight because you're only allowed to have one and then later games 2 Digimon at a time.
I think it's kind of dumb, just mechanically speaking, why to be able to pull your Pokemon out to avoid damage when you can see an attack coming. I think the whole point of Pokemon is to trade blows. Like, the whole point is to fight.
Yeah,
You know?
they are literally saying Power World stole this idea from us, and I think the big thing that really got Pokemon and really got the Pokemon Company and Nintendo upset about it wasn't copyright infringement, wasn't any of that. It was how popular Power World was getting, doing something similar, admittedly similar, but different and unique to them. I mean, it was similar in concept to Legends of Arceus. But how mad that I think it was the Pokemon Company and Nintendo got mad that Power World was so successful and were trying to find a way to stick it to them. I think that's what it's about.
I'm sure there's motives there of different types, and that could definitely be one. But I think like here's an example. Like, I'm not gonna patent the design of a car because there's a whole market for cars, but I will patent the Dodge Hellcat if I was Dodge because it's the best V8 engine on the market.
Yeah.
They designed it.
Yeah, and to me that comes down to the difference between the concept of patenting an engine or patenting a specific way to make an engine. So in this way, like if Power World just outright stole code from Pokemon Legends of Arceus and said we're going to use this code to make our sphere system work better, there you go. That would be a valid patent. But patenting the concept of throwing a sphere or patenting the concept of a fast car is a little bit ridiculous to me.
I'm gonna be honest. I love Power World. I also love Pokemon, but I think Power World messed up. They shouldn't have used this sphere shape. Every other creature capture game that's been huge recently has not used a sphere. They've used triangles. They've used discs. I've seen
Yeah.
this cassette piece uses a cassette tape player. Like, there's so many other options. It could have just been a square, and they would have avoided this entire faux pas.
Oh yeah.
Just made it a square instead of a circle.
No, 100%. They could have avoided all of this just by not leaning as hard into the joke. Because I think that 100%. The reason they don't call it a ball, they call it a sphere, is them knowing, hey, we can't call it a power ball because that would be going too close to it. And it's kind of like how actually the Dropout show has a Ketchum cube, which is just a square Pokeball, and it's their legally distinct version of a Pokeball. 100%, I agree. They could have avoided it more, but they were leaning into the joke, and that kind of got them into this lawsuit. But I feel like the Pokemon Company would have gone for it anyway at all.
So, you think if it was a different design sphere, instead of a sphere, it was a cube even, I don't think they would have had any ground to stand on if it was something that didn't resemble a sphere.
I think, and let me re-look at the specific patent. Let me re-look at the specific patent real Spear specifically.
There's a lot of monster capture games that are out. Koromon is fantastic, and it uses like a disc spinner, almost like a Beyblade comes out.
So the specific patent doesn't mention a sphere or a ball. it says an item is caused to fire an item that affects a field character placed. The second patent is the computer processing that in the first mode determining a direction of aim in the virtual space based on a first operation input. Second operation input, the aiming direction is directed towards that. So it doesn't mention a sphere anywhere at all. It just talks about, it says when the capture item, so it's just referring to a capture item. And then the third one, when one of a plurality of types of rideable character. Okay, so the third one's about being able to ride a character in a virtual space. I remember reading about being able to ride a character in a virtual space, which is, it's so fucking like, what? There's so many games that are 3D that allow you to ride a character in a virtual space, so I don't know what they're going for here. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'd have to read this. I'd have to read this more specifically.
Does my mic sound a little better?
I've heard you clear the whole time.
Yeah, I might
I
have to
don't
up your
know.
guys' audio when I actually do this, because apparently I managed to turn up audio down. Not like
Yeah.
not in like Streamlabs. But I can increase.
I think another thing that's good to note here is also this is like in a Japanese court,
Yeah,
and they handle these things a lot differently. These copyright claims,
yeah,
than I'm familiar with. I've studied a lot of stuff like this, but it's always been like a general international or like an American standpoint. Because why would I specifically? I'm not going to war with Nintendo, so this isn't pertinent to something I would need to know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would imagine that their court system is a lot different than ours in this.
and I think the reason why the other games aren't getting it as much is because the moment Power World came out, there was already this, oh my god, this is just a Pokemon clone, which it really, I mean, it was kind of a clone of Legend of Arceus in a very, very vague way, in the fact that it's a style of game, in the same way that there's a lot of FNAF clones out there now.
Yeah. I also have heard when Power World first came out and the whole thing going back and forth with Anubis and the Lucario and whatnot, people brought up Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Back from like the 80s.
Yeah.
And the monster designs that came from that, and
Yeah.
how a lot of those are, can be referenced to Pokemon.
I mean,
I think one of them was like Aerodactyl.
all art is inherently derivative. But then, like, again, watch like Gaijin Goomba's Yokai Watch or Yokai Hunter, I don't remember what he ended up calling it, series, and it talks about a lot of the origins and the fact that a lot of Pokemon ideas were stolen from like pop culture or myth or stuff like that. And that's, I don't have a problem with that, because that is just, if it's not a carbon copy of it and it's distinct enough. But then like one of the ones like, okay, let's go to like Sparkit. People were saying, oh, Sparkit's just their version of Pikachu. I mean, kind of.
I guess the lightning bolt tail.
Yeah, lightning bolt tail, and it's a mouse-like creature, but this is distinct enough that to me this is, is it their kind of version of Pikachu? Sure,
Yeah,
but
I
this
kinda
also
get
isn't
more
their
after it.
front runner Pokemon. This isn't their front runner pal either. People were saying like, oh, Grizzbolt, because Grizzbolt was on a lot of their advertising stuff. Where the fuck are you, Grizzbolt? I skipped you entirely. Grizzbolt. Oh, this is their copy of Pikachu. I heard that a lot. How is this a copy of Pikachu other than the fact that it's yellow and black?
Yeah, I would totally disagree on the Pikachu claim.
Collectibles.
Yeah, I would say that's more of a copy of
not even.
Electabuzz, but people are like, "Oh, that's their Pikachu," and I think they're saying that because it was their front runner. It was the one that was on like all their advertising material and stuff.
Yeah, I would say that's completely inaccurate. Even Electabuzz is a tough sell. I don't think that would hold up at all whatsoever.
But I think people were just really quick to see this super popular game that was coming out that was jokingly called Pokemon with Guns, and be like, "Oh my god, it's just a carbon. It took no skill. They have no original ideas." When in reality, like this game, because Legend of Arceus doesn't have a base building component, the Legend of Arceus doesn't have a lot of the stuff that this game has. So it's similar in concept, but similar in concept to the way that Battlefield and Call of Duty are similar in concept. They're first-person shooter games. This is a monster catching game with a base building component. This is a 3D monster capturing game with the addition of a base building component.
Yeah. Um, I think Power World. I think they, like I said before, I think they should have just changed the shape of the sphere, and they probably could have avoided the entire altercation altogether. And I'm sure now, hindsight being 2020, they've probably figured that out. I'm actually surprised they haven't changed it yet. I know they have the artwork and they have everything that they currently do, but I'm sure before release they're gonna have to update it at some point.
I
Or they pay the patent and they get permission to continue doing on because that's how they probably settled.
I think it's. I don't think they've settled yet. I think the lawsuit's still going on. I'll agree that they probably might have been able to save themselves some grief by not having it be a sphere. I think they were gonna get the grief anyway. I think they were gonna get the grief either way because I think it would have been compared to Pokemon either way, no matter what shape the capture device was. And I think the fact that Nintendo put the patent in as a capture item or an item, not a sphere, not a a ball, nothing like that, means they were trying to cover all the bases because they don't care about the fact that it's a sphere. They just don't like the fact that it's successful.
But I don't think that would hold up even in Japanese law because here's a good example. When Mass Effect came out, they copyrighted, they patented their dialogue system because they had a specific
Did
dialogue.
they fucking really?
Yeah, and
Oh my
so
God.
yeah, because Mass Effect had a really in-depth dialogue tree option, and so they didn't want other companies using it, and that's why you only see it in their games, such as Dragon Age. Also shares the same dialogue system, but that's why that was patented. That's why you never saw it anywhere else. Because it has that circle ring design and it had multiple options branching off of the ring of the dialogue. So that was their specific design for dialogue. So they had patented it.
Again, that just ties back to the concept of patenting a game mechanic is so stupid and damaging to just the gamer community and the game making community. And I don't think that should be legal because I think that's more of an idea and not a specific work product. I don't think that should be able to be patented. But also the fact that it's, I mean, even if we're going to argue that, because copyright is inherent and patent is not. Copyright is inherent the moment you release something, publish it, you have copyright of that. So, but a patent has to be applied for. The fact that they applied for the patent, it wasn't like they applied for the patent and then Power World came out and then they were granted the patent. They applied for the patent after Power World came out, which is shady as hell.
That definitely looks pretty sus.
Because if they had gone for copyright, if they said PAL spheres are too close to Pokeballs, that's a copyright issue. I'd been like, okay, that's, I've lost respect for you, but sure, yeah, have them change the shape. Fine. But applying for the patent after the fact is shady as fuck. And if they're going to be doing that, I don't know if Bandai Namco has a patent on the way Digimon works, but I just kind of want them to get hit with it. And then get hit with it and then have the courts rule, have them get hit with it, and then have the courts rule, no, you can't do that, that's stupid. And then they appeal it, and the courts continue to say, no, you can't do it, that's stupid. And then now there's a precedent that, no, you can't do that, that's stupid. And then Nintendo loses the lawsuit against Power World because the courts have set a precedent that, no, you can't do it, that's stupid.
Yep. The other part of it, too, is I think part of them filing this patent was their version of trying to protect themselves, right? Everyone else so far, even Corman, all the other great games that have come out that are all very good in their own respect, haven't really held a flame to how much attention Power World's got. And so now they're probably scared, a little worried, and they're probably trying to do something to kind of, protect themselves probably from any further things that might cross that boundary. But yeah, I'm sure the gut reaction is an overreaction. I mean, that's almost always
100% agree that them patenting that concept and after the fact is because they never thought someone was going to hold a candle to them, and it's them trying to protect their market. But I think that shady as fucking shouldn't be legal. And the fact that they did it after the fact.
I'm thinking it's more along the lines of they are probably confident I think they know they're not gonna fucking win. Okay, but what I think they have is, I know Palworld's not particularly small. You know, it's doing pretty well.
Mhm.
But I think Nintendo has more fuck you money to try to tie them up in litigations.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's just exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a little bit of them bullying them legally. One, hoping they'll settle, and then from like the Pirate Software video I watched, the lawyer that he was talking to kind of explained it more of, well, it wouldn't create a precedent if they settled. It wouldn't create a legal precedent because for a legal precedent to be established, you have to go to court, have a actual like court decision, and then you have to appeal that decision, and then the appeals court has to uphold that decision. It wouldn't set a precedent if they settled, but it would kind of set a in the back of
A
people's
message.
mind precedent. It would set
Yeah.
this is okay to do kind of thing. It wouldn't be legally binding, but it would make it more acceptable. And I think you're exactly right, Randy. I think they were just trying to legally bully Pocket Pair because like we have all this money, and they were hoping Pocket Pair would be like, because the lawsuit would have been the equivalent of $64,000. I think what I saw, what was mentioned in Pirate Software's video. That was what they were asking for, $64,000. Pocket Pair has that money. They sold so many copies of Power World, they have that money, and it would cost them a lot more to fight it legally. So I think they just wanted them to settle so that they would be uncontested in this, and Nintendo could go forward and say, "Yeah, see, this is how it's done. This is how it works," and have a better time legally in the future to take out more things. And since if it were Power World, if it was Pocket, or if it was Nintendo going after like a small game, it might not have gotten the press. If it was going after one of these smaller games that was like nothing,
Nintendo crushed, like, I'm not probably close to 100 fucking games that have tried to do something similar.
Yeah, and this was just the first one that really took off. It was the first one that they really needed to like send a message against, and they sued them for so little because they wanted it to be easy to sell. Hold on, I'm getting a call.
Yeah. He's just got a call from Pokemon's lawyers
Yep. He's
right
gonna
now.
cease and desist right now.
Yeah, I could see it in his face. Oh man, that is the Togepi of shame.
Damn.
What
Not
do you-
the
I'm sorry.
first egg.
Wait, what happened? Hold on, I missed it. What happened?
We were
I
saying
don't
1
know
second,
about
hold
it.
on.
Oh man, they're really after him now.
Yeah, they're getting on him. Getting on him hard.
Okay. Oh,
Back-to-back calls.
that's crazy. You know what's next, right? The Clefairy Pinkertons. Gonna show up at his house all dressed up in like little vests with sunglasses.
And just busts his
Pocket knives.
kneecaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Just
I just had someone because when I've refinanced my house, I was talking to a bunch of different companies, and a guy just called me saying, "Hey, we're talking about getting you a lower rate on your mortgage and stuff, and blah blah blah." And I said I already did it. Thank you. Have a nice day. And I hung up. He called me back and said, "Oh, well, sir, you called me." I said, "I'm on the do not call list. I record all my phone calls. Do not call me again." And he's like, "Well, sir, you told me to call you." He's like, "I don't care. Do not call me again." "Well, sir, you do not. I told you. You told me to call you." I said, "I don't care. I do not want you calling me." "Well, sir, I did." And I just kind of shouted at him, "No means no, Bill Cosby," and hung up again. Filled up
See,
from
you work
South
for a
Park.
commission and you're like dying for your next meal.
Yeah.
You know, Mask, I agree. That attitude right there, that's why the Pinkertons are coming for his kneecaps.
Oh my
That's
God.
exactly what I'm talking
you.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying the Clefairy Pinkertons are gonna come visit you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Where were we? Oh, yeah. On the they've just never had another company this big, and they're trying to bully them because if they really cared about this, they would be suing for a lot more money. They would be suing for. They wouldn't just be suing for the $64,000 from the patent infringement. They would be suing for profits. They would want part of the profits. But I think they want it to be more profitable, more reasonable for Power World to just settle, for Pocket Pair to just settle, because then they could set that precedent. Because they don't want Pocket Pair to fight it. Because I don't think they think they'll win. But they know they can make it costly.
Yeah, and I think Randy brought up a good point. I think a part of this is tying them up in litigation. Power World hasn't fully released yet. If they can keep them busy, maybe they'll drop the ball and mess up the development or something. Things
Yeah.
won't go as smoothly. So there's a lot of little things that could be. But I feel like a lot of that, as much as I love talking about the juicy gossip, I feel like it is definitely some conjecture of, oh yeah, think
You cut out. You cut
before
out their
just.
mask. You cut out there.
Oh, I
It's
said
still
that.
there for me. I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah.
That's strange. I was just saying that Nintendo is such a large company. They probably just have like an entire department of lawyers.
Oh
That are
yeah.
just like we have nothing to do. What should we do? Well, that Pal World game sure looks good. It looks kind of threatening. Yeah, we should do something about it.
Well,
Like
and
I just
yeah, I mean, you've seen all the stuff too. Nintendo's so quick to like, and especially for a while there, I don't know if they still do it as much, but they're so quick to like copyright strike anyone that posts a Nintendo game on YouTube, unless it's one of their like specifically approved creators, and like they really ride the copyright laws and the patent laws to have such control. And I don't know if that's just a part of like Japanese culture or if it's just Nintendo specific or what it is, but their team is well versed in how do we sue the fuck out of someone so they can't do this thing.
I gotcha. Hey, I got to dip out. Taylor just got home.
Okay.
But, yeah. Anyway, bye.
Okay, bye.
pleasure talking with you, Randy. What was I? I just had a thought in my mind. Well, that's it. It's gone now. I guess brain dead.
Yeah.
Finally you found a shiny. That's cool.
Oh, I have so many shinies. But yeah, no, I think the moment I saw that, and the big thing that made me like really like, are you fucking serious, Nintendo, with their gameplay trailer and with the article I saw related to it, was when they just talked about how innovative they were, and talking about how innovative you are when you are actively copying someone else and then suing someone else for supposedly copying you. It was just such a massive hypocrisy. I was like, I need to rant about this. I need to talk about this while it's still fresh in my mind because I am furious.
I know it's the crazy part is to go around. They could pay to get really good creators to make things more original. Because I know a lot of people even complained about Scarlet and Violet, like the story wasn't what they were hoping for, or it was lacked some creativity. I just finished playing through Monster Hunter Wilds' kind of main story, and I kind of got the same vibe. But then again, I'm not playing Monster Hunter Wilds for the story. I'm there to fuck shit up and take names on monsters and make parts and stuff. But like,
What the fuck is
I
happening
just-
here? I think it's they found a it's like a procedural cop show. They found the thing that worked for them. They know people are going to continue to buy the product. They're just going to keep putting out the same thing because it costs them the least amount of money and the least amount of effort and the least amount of time, so that they can keep pushing out a product and making money. And I think they've lost whatever creativity they might have had when they first started. They've lost whatever like soul they had when they first started. It's kind of like how like early Blizzard games and early Blizzard products, early Warcraft stuff, it had so much soul in it. Like you could tell that the people behind the creative department behind it loved what they were doing. And then as it got on, it started to feel more and more like, oh, we're just here to make a profit, so we're going to do whatever we can the easiest and market the most and sell the most, widgets, and people are going to buy it because they're not trying to get new customers as much as they are trying to get the same customers spending a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. There are a lot of things, and I've played Scarlet and Violet thoroughly. I've played almost all the Pokemons at
Mhm.
some point, and I do think they come up with some really good ideas, and they have a lot of good designs. Even some of the story parts or the monsters enveloped in the stories are intriguing. But
Mhm.
yeah, they definitely pull from myths and things. And I think that's part because they're trying to relate the Pokemon world to our world a lot.
And-
So we have something that we can be like, oh, I recognize that. That's a turtle. Like, oh shit.
Yeah,
It's
and I
not
don't
Mario. Don't step on it.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I do not, because all art is derivative. I do not have a problem with that at all. What I have a problem. Hold on.
Mhm.
What I have a problem with is doing that. Because one of the biggest things I hate is hypocrisy. I have a problem with them doing that, them knowingly doing that, because there's no way they don't realize. There might have been a few Pokemon early on that they were like, oh, it was just something that was a part of their culture that was so ingrained to them that they didn't really realize they were copying it. But Drowsy and Abaku are basically the same thing, so you can't tell me that that wasn't a one-for-one recreation. I don't have a problem with them doing that, because everything's going to do that. Anyone that's ever done any creative work, whether it's physical art, it's creative writing, anything like that, is deriving their thought from their experiences and from life and from the world. But doing that and then trying to go after someone else for doing that and suing them, and then just continuing to do that in a more aggressive way, because I think this new mechanic in Pokemon Legends ZA is just them being like, I don't even think I think they're directly trying to take from Power World, because they realize people like that.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's hard to say without getting my actual hands on it
Yeah.
and be able to critique it fully. Because it could be slightly different. Like I said, maybe it's the same car but a different engine.
Yeah.
I think it would be very interesting if I had like a time machine, just to say, if we could have gone back. And I wonder, when Power World came out on early access and everyone got it, if at the same time they had all the patents, or they had their own patents for their work, or they had their own protection on their side, how much different would the story have been?
If Power World, or if
Power World had protected their designs,
yeah,
like protected their stuff.
And I think it's one of those things where I don't think that's something. I'm not a game designer at all, but that's not something I would have even thought of, because to my mind, patenting a game mechanic is such a weird fucking concept. I doubt they even thought they had to do that, especially because they had already released a game before Legends of Arceus. And maybe,
oh man, don't
maybe
even get me started on Dungeons and Dragons.
What? Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Just continue your sentence. I didn't mean.
Are
Should have interrupted you.
Are you talking about the fact that the Wizards of the Coast copyrights so much shit?
The whole OGL scandal.
Oh yeah, no, that's a
just they try to copyright the D20 system, period.
Listen, we still need to do the.
Oh man.
We still need to do the interview with a game design, or with a game master thing. We could talk. Let me get a little bit more research in on that, and when we do that, we can talk about that in depth.
That is a rabbit hole in its own,
Yeah,
but
because
yeah, similar in the sense. Actually, what you were saying with the derivative stuff actually sparked a little fire that I've been having to deal with back and forth with people, is this AI art crap.
Mm-hmm.
How it's generative, but it pulls derivatives from other people's art.
Mm-hmm.
So people argue that it's stealing, which I agree. If they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
be giving permission for it to be taken, yeah, that's stealing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it very much kind of follows that same thing.
Yeah.
Who the hell tried to patent a D20?
Right,
Talk
yeah.
to Dungeons and Dragons.
It was
Not
Wizards
the
of the
D20
Coast.
itself, but the system.
The TTRPG system that relies on a D20. Yeah.
Yeah, but of course, there's so many systems that rely on a D20 now. Like, but then that's because they had the open gaming license, and then they were trying to revoke it. So everyone's like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're going to piss everyone off in like 3 seconds."
Which is basically the same thing that happened. You think Nintendo would have learned, because it's the same thing that happened with the Power World lawsuit. Like, are you fucking serious? Are you really serious about this right now? I think, like, when it comes to, like, should Pocket Pair have patented the mechanic, morally I say no. Or if they're gonna patent it, and then say everyone can use this. But I don't know if it came down to the fact that they didn't think that was even something they had to do, because they released Craftopia back in 2020, before Legends of Arceus came out, and then they're just like, we don't have to do this. We already have something like this. Sue us for this, because they would lose. Or if it was a moral question that they had of, maybe they disagree with the concept of patenting game mechanics, so they chose not to. So now they're dealing with this.
Yeah.
And like
When Power first I'm sorry. Let
no,
me
go
let
on.
you finish.
Go on.
I was just saying, when Power first came out, they were a small studio and they were just learning how to put shit together.
Yeah.
And so it's not like they really thought of all the legal ramifications. Just like, hell, let's just make Pokemon with guns and make it as much as we can, as best as we can.
Yeah.
And they just ran with it.
And they
so
took
they
the
didn't
framework
expect
of
any of this.
They took basically kind of the framework of Craftopia and made Power World. So like, in their minds, like, I wouldn't be thinking, oh well, Legends of Arceus is kind of like this. because Legends of Arceus came out after Craftopia. I'd be thinking, yeah, Legends of Arceus is kind of like this, but Craftopia came first, so we're fine. And to your note of, oh, should they have made it a different shape? Would that have saved them some trouble? I get the concept of that. I disagree with it on like a moral perspective, because that almost falls down the same line of, if you didn't want to get robbed, you shouldn't have been walking in that that back alley kind of thing. Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't have been, but also it is not the victim's fault for the robbery happening. Could they have done things to protect themselves? Yes. Should they have had to? No. Am I going to get mad at them for not? No, I'm going to get mad at Nintendo for doing the stupid thing of trying to sue them for it.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where people steal constantly, especially creative information.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's literally studios that are just jamming out new games constantly of just ripping off other games, and I think there's a Chinese studio.
Look at how many
specifically
fucking
that does
Minecraft clones there are.
Oh my god, they're just spitting them out as fast as they can make them.
Yeah.
They don't care if it's good or not. They're just gonna get it in and spit it out and then see what sticks.
Yeah, and it goes back to that quote of, and I've seen the full quote going on Facebook more now, and I didn't even know that was the full quote until recently when I started seeing it pop up on Facebook. And I'm sure Dez would actually have a lot of opinions on this, because Dez is an artist. Of imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but the full quote of that I've learned recently is imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. So it's not saying imitation is flattery. It's saying you're really pathetic for trying to imitate me, but it's the best you can do. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if it makes money, they don't care.
Yeah, no, it'd be one thing again if it was just like if Nintendo said, "Oh shit, Power World's doing really good. We're gonna add a base building component to the next Pokemon game." But it's another thing to be like, wow, Power World's doing really good. We're going to start patenting things that we don't have a right to patent and do them for it.
Yeah, is Fortnite going to assume next then? If
Yeah.
you build huh?
And that's why, like, the moment I saw that combat system stuff in the gameplay trailer and the article, because the video, as far as I saw, didn't mention anything about them being the ones to create it. It just said it's the first time you could do this in Pokemon. But the article I saw was talking about how innovative Pokemon's becoming. Like, that's not fucking innovative. You've stolen this straight from Power World, but also in a long form sense from Digimon. Because I even said that. I think I said that, like, I was saying that as soon as I might have a actual clip on my YouTube. I'll have to look. I might have a clip on my YouTube channel where I say this isn't. Yeah, it's Pokemon with guns, but all Pokemon with guns is Digimon. Because Digimon is just straight up Pokemon with guns, except for they came out at like the exact same time. The Digimon World game came out before the Gen 2 of Pokemon, and Digimon World, the game, was so completely different from Pokemon. It was Pokemon was a 2D turn-based JRPG basically. Whereas Digimon was a open world-ish 3D playing one. Pokemon, you have a team of 6. Digimon, you have a team of 1. But Digimon also had the egg concept, and then Pokemon a year later, or like 8 months, 10 months later, has an egg concept and this and that. And it's like, okay, so you're perfectly fine with stealing ideas, and you're perfectly fine with this concept of, oh yeah, it's a game concept until it's a game that's more successful than.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Staley, welcome. We're discussing how the new Pokemon Z to A trailer has some mechanics that's heavily lean from previous Digimon and Power World games.
Yeah.
And yet they had a fit about Power World using the sphere patent recently.
The moment I saw them talking about being able to dodge attacks, and what they did was pull their Pokemon out and then put a new one in after the attack was over, I'm like, that is just straight up from every single guide in Power World of how to beat this hard boss. It will say somewhere in there, remember to recall your pal and put it back out after the attack. That way you can avoid taking damage, blah, blah, blah. That's straight stolen from Power World. It's like they're not even trying to hide it, but they're still like, stroking their own dicks like how great they are. It's like, bro, just no. Just say that, just outright admit, release a public statement that wow, Power World had a lot of really good ideas that we should have thought of sooner, and now we want to do that too.
Yeah, I'll be honest though, Pokemon, you've been kind of sitting back and getting fat.
Exactly.
And you need to kind of step up your game. There's so many new game designers, indie games are coming out left and right. There's so many great games. You need to step it up and really show that you are the quadruple A multimedia franchise giant
Yeah.
and why you are.
And
Step it up.
And Nintendo and Pokemon just got so lax with it because they look at even their concept behind their first Pokemon games. Every Pokemon generation had 3 games associated with it. So their whole concept from the beginning has been release the same game 3 times at once with very, very slight differences and get people to buy it 3 times, hopefully. And you can argue that's, oh, so your friend buys Emerald and your other friend buys Ruby and your other friend buys Sapphire, and now you're all playing together and being able to unlock. But that's what it was. They just wanted to sell the same game 3 times. And then they released like 20 fucking generations of the same exact game before they ever came out with Legends of Arceus, which was the first one to really innovate in any kind of way. So they were resting on their laurels, and all of a sudden, and Legends of Arceus came out after Craftopia came out, which was made by Pocket Pair, and after a lot of similar games like that came out of fight with monsters in a 3D world, and then they released Legends of Arceus. Like, look how amazing we are! You can fight with monsters in a 3D world, and then they sued fucking Power World when Power World came out because they're like, hey, because Craftopia wasn't popular, but Power World was.
Yeah.
So it's them been resting on their laurels, and now that there's actually people innovating in a way that they have not, they are trying to, drown them in litigation. And I'm hoping that this new one, I'm hoping that and here's the thing, I'm not hoping because I would rather there be an outcome where the courts say you cannot patent a game mechanic. That's the outcome I would love to see. I would love to see, because Power World's going to fight. It's looking like, at least from the last time I checked, they're going to fight this in the courts. And I'm hoping it comes down to there is a precedent set where you cannot patent game mechanics. That game mechanics are considered something that is so general in concept that you cannot patent it. You can patent code that allows a certain game mechanic, but you cannot patent the mechanic itself.
I'm okay, so let's look at this. So Pokemon monster taming games, they use a capture system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the capture system itself, I agree. Being able to capture pals shouldn't have a patent. How you execute capturing pals is your company's signature. So Coromon using a disc, Pokemon using a Pokeball, that is where I think the patent lies.
And if they had
that's
copyright,
that's where the argument. Yeah.
if they had went for copyright infringement of a sphere is too similar to a ball, and that is why they were mad about it, I would have been like, okay, it's kind of petty, but okay, because ultimately, like, the sphere here is very, very similar to a ball. When you look at it, or similar to a Pokeball, even down to, like, you look here where there's the little centerpiece with a larger little thing, but in this case it's a square or a diamond shape, whereas in Pokemon it's a circle in the center. But this is very clearly a parody of they didn't even try to hide that. So if they had gone copyright infringement and said no, you can't do that, I would have, from a legal standpoint, I would have been like, the Pokemon has every right to do that. I get it. It's petty, but I don't let them do it. But patenting a game mechanic after the fact, patenting a game mechanic after the fact and then trying to sue someone over it, and then patenting a game mechanic at all are just things that I cannot stand by, and I think are so shady and fucked up and dishonorable way to go about this industry. Like, it's so stupid. So that's why, like, my hope would be make it illegal to patent game mechanics. But if for some reason that does not happen, my second hope is that Bandai Namco retroactively patents that concept of how they fight in Digimon games, and then Power World retroactively patents. Well, Power World wouldn't be able to if I wanted Bandai Namco to do it, but Power World patents the concept of being able to bring your monster in and out of combat in mid-fight and blah, 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 retroactively. And then they both just collectively go after Nintendo and say, listen, you want to play dirty? We're going to play dirty. And then hopefully do the honorable thing of saying, okay, now that we've patented this, we are releasing the patent for public use. Because patenting game mechanics is stupid. Yeah, classic case of do what I say, not what I do. Yeah, no, it's stupid as fuck.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Pokemon, but I also have a lot of respect for Power World trying to do something new and creative. The one thing, my biggest bone to pick with Power World is that they use like AI generative stuff to make some of the monsters. Like,
yeah,
was
that ever confirmed that they did that? So I remember vaguely hearing that.
But I heard about that.
That's
the only thing in particular. If that's true, I think that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
You know. Because I mean, there's plenty of YouTube channels of just YouTubers who design pals or Pokemon or monsters.
Yeah.
And they would probably love this to be on a game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times it's one of those kind of things. It's the same thing as calling someone German from the early 1940s. A lot of times online when you see stuff like this, like saying, "Oh, they used AI art," or "This is kind of a go-to thing." I'm not sure if they did. Did Power World use AI art? Let's see. Howard is often accused of using generative AI, but in reality, we do not use it. He said via Games Radar, artists draw thousands of sketches. So they're saying they didn't. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that might be a thing of, because it is kind of in a way so derivative that people are like, oh, it's AI art and blah blah blah, and I could very well see that have started as, yeah, it's so derivative because they used AI, so yeah, they didn't know any better. Ha 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 ha. I don't that would, I am not smart enough to determine whether or not it is AI. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. If they did, yeah, they should have hired artists, but like you said, they're also a small company. Does that necessarily forgive it? No, I don't. Yeah. I don't really know. I'm against the use of AI art. I believe in paying artists. That said, like, the background I was using for a while for thumbnails was AI generated, because every artist I reached out that like actually had like any sort of that I thought was trustworthy was like, yeah, no, I can't get that to you in time, or I can't get that to you in the time. So I just had AI tavern drawing. But like when it comes to actually created work that's selling for money, that's doing stuff like that, especially when you have the money and you have the ability and you're creating something that's going to create money, pay a fucking artist. Allow artists to continue to be able to make money off of it. Because I'm not someone that's like, oh my god, every artist should make a whole bunch of money, because ultimately art is worth what people pay for it. But I'm very much like, I want to pay artists. Like I could AI. It's like the same thing when Twitch AI generated their new emotes or whatever, and everyone lost their fucking mind. All the reason I only have a handful of emotes is because I can only afford to pay an artist every once in a while to make a new emote for me. And I have an artist that I go to pay, and I've even to the point of like, I've had friends and stuff tell me, "Oh, I'll do this for you for free. I can do art for you for free," and I'm like, "No way, no, you are not." I might not be able to afford to pay you a lot, but I'm going to pay you something.
Yeah, but then there you go. You know, that's an agreement between you and the artist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a freelance contract.
Yeah.
You know, that's normally what would go. So then if somebody came and took the art that you paid for and you had a contract for and put it on their Twitch.
Yeah.
That's just straight up stealing.
No, that's straight up like copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Not okay. Yeah, I think the entire way Pokemon thing is just shady as fuck. And again, if they had gone for copyright infringement, I would have said, yeah, I get it. I get why you're doing copyright infringement. Because I even backed I backed like Pirate Software in the whole him doing his copyright infringement thing when the guy was using his voice for a game.
Yep.
I said, yeah, like, whether or not is the way he handled it the way I would have handled it? No. But do I agree with his right to do it? 100%. If Pokemon had come after Power World and said, listen, if they'd come after Power World and said, listen, your Anubis character is too close to Lucario, I'd been like, okay, fuck you, your Lucario's too the actual Anubis, fuck you. But if they had said, oh yeah, the spheres are, we don't like the fact that you're doing that, that is copyright infringement, I'd be like, yeah, I get that, change the shape, because that's what everyone thought. That's what everyone thought immediately. I was like, yeah, using Pal Spheres, that's just a Pokeball. That's what everyone immediately like knew that to be the case. If you can hand someone like that has never like played a Pokemon game this, and their first thought's gonna be, is this a Pokemon? Yeah, maybe that's a little bit of copyright infringement.
Well, the thing is, Pokemon has a monopoly on the monster community, right?
Yeah.
So if you could show anyone a made-up creature and be like, "What is it, a Pokemon?" and be like, "No, I just made this up, and it's a trash can. It just happens Pokemon also now has a trash Pokemon."
Yeah, so also there, when you're talking about Pokemon's creative integrity, they lost that a while ago. they lost that a long time ago. When they made a Pokemon that was just an ice cream cone, I was like, okay, you know what?
Terrible.
Yeah, it's yeah. Okay, Pokemon. Let's not talk about creative integrity right now, because that's almost like that falls down the same Simpsons did it thing of like, if you're watching a modern TV show and like, oh well, the Simpsons did an episode just like that. Of course they fucking did. They've been around for fucking half a decade almost. How long have they been around? Like 30 years?
Than that. Oh yeah, they're one of the longest running cartoons. I think they are the longest running cartoon, and then South Park is probably behind them. Venom in
1987, so
yeah,
8 years.
Oh, you got the 6, so it's timed out. Venom in chat says, if I remember correctly, the CEO of Power World is really into AI stuff.
That could possibly explain why.
Well, I'm sure they probably use it in generating the model.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe they have sketches for the design, and then they try to put it into a system which generates the model, which of course probably uses AI generation. So that's the other thing. I think a lot of people mislabel AI as artificial intelligence when it's more like, what's the better word for it? It's
design tool.
It's more like it's pulling from an algorithm of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
it's a neural network. It's a mesh. It's generative AI. It's not true AI. That's the term.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people like think it's going to be this huge change, and I don't think it's that per se. But it's crazy to think that with the concept of AI, although it's currently going on, the first thing they did was target the most vulnerable group, which is artists.
Mm-hmm.
Artists aren't unionized. Artists aren't put together as a group.
Artists are struggling enough as it is. Like,
and who can we cut costs the most in businesses?
Yeah, name a single person that you know that is an artist that makes a living doing art. Not makes extra money doing art, but makes a full-time living art. Because outside of Hollywood and outside of game design studios, there's not too many people.
Yeah, but then in game design studios, how much of the money they're raking in, is it from the art being protected and them having someone not taking that art? Because like I said, everyone steals so much in that space.
Yeah.
So you have to protect yourself. It's almost like you got to wear a condom, right? Like that's it. The patent is the condom.
Yeah. The condom of creativity is your patent, is your copyright, is your And I think it's just like, because there's also that era of, okay, if we can't patent a game mechanic anymore, which I don't think we should be able to, that just incentivizes people to implement it better. To, okay, with this patent, this game mechanic is available for everyone to use. So, okay, Power World's created this game mechanic with Craftopia. Okay, or Pocket Pair created this game mechanic with Craftopia. Okay, now if Pokemon wants to compete with them, they can't sue them. They have to do it better. They have to do it in a more interesting way. They have to corner their market by being better. But now they're just, it's the patents in this case allow, like, patents of creativity just allow people to say, I don't have to do this better. I don't have to do this more innovatively. I just have to sue someone who tries to copy and do the same thing. And I think that is bad for the gaming community. I think that's bad for the creativity of the gaming community and developers.
Yeah, but at the same time, I want artists and people who are creators to have their work protected, so no one could just.
But that's
take
where
their
copyright
stuff.
comes. That's copyright, not patent.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like nowadays you kind of need a patent to protect your copyright, like the stuff that you have copyright, because sometimes the copyright feels like it's not enough.
I mean, okay, so you get copyright inherently, and if you inherently have copyright when you do a creative work, when you create a piece of IP, when you create something creative and publish it, you inherently have copyright on that. You can go forward, though, and actually register your copyright. You can take the affirmative action of registering your copyright, which would be the equivalent of filing a patent. Whereas with a patent, you actually have to actually do that, or you don't have protection. So, like, say you created a creative piece of work. You created a piece of art that is a unique character that's going to be used for something. You creating that and publishing that inherently gives you the copyright of it. But someone else, like a big company, can see that and be like, oh, I'm going to take that and use it. And now you have to go to court and prove that you published it before they ever did something with it. Or they did, that you were the one that published it first. Then I have a legal battle. But you can go forward and, from my understanding, go forward and register a copyright. And now that legal battle is a lot easier. Now that legal battle is like, literally there is a registry that says, and it might just get shot down at court on its merits. Like, it would be immediately shot down because the judge would be like, oh, no, see, they have it. And then you released on this day and they copyrighted it on this day. That's like 2 years beforehand. So you have no basis for use or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can do that. And here's the thing: I don't necessarily disagree with patents. I don't disagree with patents at all. I think there is a huge benefit to patents, and I think like patents having a time limit, because a patent I think lasts for like 20 years or 25 years or something like that. Patents having a time limit is also a good thing, because that way, one company can't hold on to something forever and never allow innovation. Yeah. But it gives them enough time to make their money off of it, off the innovation that they did, and make a profit off of it, which encourages them to continue doing it. Because if the patent system didn't exist, then there would be very little initiative, especially in modern day, where you have some factory in China that's just producing the same thing for a much cheaper price because they're denying human rights. It gives the incentive. It makes it profitable for people to innovate and create new things and put money into research. But I don't think a game mechanic, because a game mechanic is such a general idea, should be copyrighted. Because it is such a general concept that.
Okay. Let me throw one out, and let me hear what your thoughts are.
Okay.
So Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not going to go too far into this rabbit hole, but just a little bit.
Okay.
Has patented the advantage and disadvantage system, as well as giving inspiration to players. Are some of the few patents I know just right off the top of my head that they have. And now, of course, that relates to the D20 being used for advantage or for disadvantage. But those are two game mechanics. So do you think that shouldn't exist? Do you think Dungeons & Dragons shouldn't be allowed to do that? So because is that a necessity to the D20 TTRPG, kind of like that game? I feel like the advantage system is a very strong system. It's very good.
I don't think having advantage, disadvantage, or inspiration is. I do not think that is a necessity, that every D20 system would need that. But I think the concept of, because effectively what advantage is disadvantage is saying you are unlucky or you are lucky in this situation. This person has a sneak attack on you. This person has you're somehow restrained. Which one, I think there are so many games and stuff that exist with something so similar to that. Critical attacks in like sneak attacks in like Fallout. You have to be, that is effectively the same thing. You are effectively rolling better and doing more damage because of that. A critical attack in Fallout, especially before Fallout 4, where critical was just kind of random, is effectively is a similar concept. I think the concept of advantage and disadvantage and inspiration is such a general idea that there's no way you're going to tell me, because when did advantage and disadvantage and inspiration first appear in a D&D manual? Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know the specific date, but I'm pretty sure it would have been a while. The crazy part, though, to me, is advantage and disadvantage. It's a strong system. It makes sense. It's easy to understand. But the inspiration part is the one that's kind of bizarre to me, because inspiration is given to you by the game master, whoever's running the game, for you doing something usually a little bit out of
Yeah.
step above.
Yeah.
As like, oh,
You
I
did
acknowledge
something
you
really
did this.
clever,
Here you
or
go.
you brought snacks to the table, or done something that the DM has said, I'm going to reward you with this. So advantage and disadvantage appeared in the early playtest of D&D Next, the rule system, which would later be known as Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Advantage and disadvantage has been around since May 24, 2012. You are not going to convince me that sometime, when did D&D first appear?
Oh God, like the 80s, 70s, like late 70s, beginning of the 80s.
First D&D
Right.
rule in 1978. The first D&D book was in 1970. You are not going to convince me that at least one, if not countless DMs have, in the course of DMing campaigns, said, you're going to need to roll twice, and we're going to take the lower. Or I'll let you roll twice, you'll take the higher, because, they're grappled. Because you would have some player be like, oh, well, they're grappled, so, they should... How are they going to do? Logically, if you're grappled, you're not going to be. So you're not going to convince me that is something unique that they created. I'm willing to bet it's something that they found out that players were doing and DMs were doing, that they said, "Cool, we're going to put it in the rulebook. It's ours now."
Yeah, but the fact that they have a patent on it is crazy.
Yeah,
because it's the equivalent of saying, like, all right, you're going to flip 6 coins, and the best result you get from flipping those 6 coins will be the average. You're stepping up the odds. It's just another way of changing the odds.
I'm against. I'm going to say I'm against them being able to patent that at all. Maybe they don't want you to call it advantage and disadvantage because inspiration because it first appeared in their rule book. Cool, fine. You don't get to call it advantage, disadvantage, or inspiration. You have to call it luck, bad luck, or and hope, or I don't fucking know. But I don't think you should be able to patent something that's not innovative. I don't think you should be able to patent something that's not innovative at all. And I don't think that was innovative, and I definitely don't think that was Gary Gygax's idea.
No, I think you're right. I think that's just something that developed on the table.
Yeah.
They saw that it worked out well, and they threw it in the rule book, and they're like, hey, this is so good. We should try to make money off it or patent it. And so that's kind of probably where it led down that rabbit hole. I just think that's bizarre, because it's just, like you said, it's something that it's innately kind of part of an RNG system.
Yeah.
Is that you're trying to manipulate the odds. Well, what's one way of doing that? Well, you can roll more dice.
Yeah. It's just
what?
I probably could think of 1,000 different things that have done something like that before if I really, really delved into it really hard. But I really, really doubt that was the unique idea of someone at Wizards of the Coast. And look at how many house rules, what house rules do you play with? I'm willing to bet that there are house rules that you play with right now that are not in the rule.
Well, right now, my players are about to kill someone's grandma. They're just little terrorists, I swear to God.
I'm gonna go. I just that so when I edit this video, I can cut out that part right there.
They are, dude. DM players, Dungeons & Dragons players, they're just little terrorists in disguise.
Yeah.
They go around, they're doing a murder mystery, and they're like, oh, the last person she saw was her grandma. It's like, I'm like, okay, so you think grandma did it? Like, yeah, we got to go in there and just straight up just open the door, fireball.
Yeah.
I was just like, jeez.
So my DM right now has a rule, and it falls within the inspiration thing of the DM's displeasure. if you are the last person to show up to a table and you are late, you get the DM's displeasure based on how late you are or how bad your excuse for being late, where it's basically at some point you're going to have disadvantage. At some point you're going to have disadvantage or something's not going to work for you. Yeah, it's just that little thing. And I if I really thought about it, I could probably think of like 1,000 different house rules that for different like D&D one-shots and campaigns and different DMs I've had. And it's like that's just how the game works. But then and I'm willing to bet that that's how advantage, disadvantage, and inspiration came about.
Exactly.
And if they just start patenting house rules that they hear about, that's not, they didn't create that. That is not their creative work.
Yeah, but now look at it. Now they've just released their own virtual tabletop, right?
Yeah.
And you know the whole point of that is because they saw what Roll20 was doing and other competitors like it, and how well they've been doing for themselves. Well, good for them. They're doing that groundwork and they're setting that up, so that's their whole spiel. But now Dungeons and Dragons is like, okay, well, we're gonna get in on it, so they're gonna have advantage and disadvantage and inspiration on their virtual tabletop. Does that mean on other virtual tabletops they're probably going to remove their service, and are they not going to allow other people to use advantage and disadvantage when they're playing on others? That's going to be crazy.
And I'm wondering when it's going to turn into them like suing other virtual tabletops for like, oh, you're stealing from D&D, when in reality it's just like, no, like if they put the core rulebook onto the virtual tabletop, yeah, that would be D&D. Sure, you should have to pay Wizards of the Coast for that, because ultimately, yeah, they created the system. But like, it's if this Power World thing, to tie it back into Power World, if this Power World thing fucking works, then what's going to stop Wizards of the Coast from just literally shutting down anything that allows you to remotely play D&D? Because now they've created
their audio went out on my end.
Hold on,
Zach, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I accidentally hit my mute button, but it's like, yeah, no, if this Power World thing goes through, and retroactive patents and stuff like that, what's going to stop like D&D from being able to say, okay, now we created a virtual tabletop and we created the first TTRPG system, so no one else can have a virtual tabletop because we created it. We created it. We created TTRPGs. Pathfinder's gone. Starfinder's gone. Alpha Omega's already gone. Alpha Omega died shortly after being created. Like all these other TTRPG systems are gone now because we created the TTRPG system. Because it's ultimately, it is a mechanic. It is a concept.
Yeah.
And rolling dice is a concept.
Yeah, it's just tools used to deliver certain, figure out results. Of whatever. It's even math tables use the dice.
Risk,
and, like random number generators.
Risk has been around forever. Risk uses rolling dice. The basis of D&D and TTRPGs were the old school battle games that were massive, army battle games that would use dice to determine victories and stuff and shit like that. Like, dice games have been around for forever. Okay, so the very first culture to create a dice game has a patent on D20 because D20 is a dice.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question for you. It's a little bit off the topic, but it's still within the realm of what we've been discussing. You said that all art is derivative from something, right? Like, I have a reference. Usually, like most art has a reference.
It might be derivative of specific art, but it's derivative of the things you've experienced in your life in a lot of ways. And I'm sure there is art out there that someone has created that I would consider wholly unique.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you think there is anything that would be considered original content, or like no other real derivatives or references of?
There's nothing I can specifically think of, but like, I'm also not someone that's going to be like, oh, well, you created this art that's very similar, or that's similar in concept to this other piece of art. Really, when I say art is derivative, I mean we art is created from our life experiences, our cultural backgrounds, our what we know, what we understand, what we've seen, and that is transferred into stuff. And it becomes a Simpsons did it thing where, like, you can create an art piece of if you did an art piece of someone standing in front of their house, like, oh, well, what about that farmer Gothic that's standing next to his wife? It's derivative of that. No, not necessarily. You're not copying that. You're not copying that at all. Because maybe you are, but just because you have a person standing from their house does not mean you're copying that art. But art is derivative from life and from.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I guess the next step, and if we were to follow this train of thought, is like if we were to witness an original creative piece, right? Like something completely new, it would be beyond human comprehension because it wouldn't be something that's pulled from relation of human experience.
Yeah. And like
Because you're saying all human experience is where art's sourced from. So that would then clarify that AI, whatever they're doing with the stuff, is not art because it's deriving its whatever it's making from what other people have interpreted, not itself.
I
It's not physically doing it.
I'll say maybe a controversial opinion that might piss off a lot of
Yeah.
people online that want to call themselves artists. AI art is not art, and you
It's
are not
not.
an artist. You entered stuff into a prompter, and it took from the work of a fuck ton of different artists and a fuck ton of really talented programmers who were able to use the work of those other artists to create a system that could create something and then produced it. You are not an artist. You are not creative. You don't deserve to consider yourself an artist. I'm not an artist. I would never consider myself an artist, but you sure as hell aren't.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think this also goes back to like people who call themselves artists, but they're con artists.
Yeah.
Like a good example was like
AI art is con art. That's what it is.
yeah, exactly. But I think we can go back and look at even pop art and how we like celebritize people who would copy other people's arts and to just change things slightly.
Andy Warhol.
Yes, exactly.
There
Andy
is
Warhol is a perfect example.
one artist that I hate more than Andy Warhol, and it's Jackson Pollock. Both of those two people fucking suck. I mean, Andy Warhol's art was screen printing, so it was literally copying someone else's art and then printing it. Like part of it was there's other stuff he did, and printing it in a unique thing, and that's
Tomato soup cans.
yeah. He made
It's
soup cans.
Campbell's
He
tomato
didn't.
soup
He
can.
didn't create the design on the canvas. He just drew it. And I'll say there is a talent. There is a good talent, and I like someone who can draw something photorealistically and could copy something and draw it photorealistically. That is amazing artistic talent, but that is not creative. You are
Yeah,
not a
like
creator. You might be an artist in the general sense of you can copy this thing, but you're not putting any of your own flair on it. You're not putting any of your own taste on it. You are outright copying something, and you're doing it to a degree that I would never be able to do, and 99.9% of people would never be able to do, and that is talented as hell. But if you are not able to create something, if you're not able to come up with something new, come up with a twist, come up with something, you are not a creative. You are just an artist that copies things. And that's talent. I'm not going to say it's not. But Andy Warhol can go fuck himself.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think we've highlighted these people, and that's the other thing is too is the art scene itself is kind of what sets the groundwork. And unfortunately, the art scene itself is fucked. It's completely messed up. There's so much money laundering in
Mhm.
art. The
Oh,
art
that's what a
world.
lot of big art is.
It's-
Is it money laundering because it's worth whatever the fuck you say.
Exactly. So then you can just pay and there's your cash.
Yep.
So
there you go.
yeah, the art world is a huge money laundering scheme. They don't give a fuck what the art looks like more or less, unless it's more of like who you know
Yeah.
than what you make.
I'm
Than
gonna,
it's ever been.
I'm going to ask Des a question real quick because when it comes to someone that has like, I don't think their art is derivative. I don't think Dez's art, at least for artistic, I would say that it is one I would consider at the very least.
Yeah, by all
Give me one
means.
second. I'm going to ask if she's.
Oh yeah, don't always ask. Yeah, where I grew up, for anyone else listening, I grew up in Miami, Florida, and there's a lot of drug money and stuff there. There's a lot of art galleries. And another thing is too, they also sell art like on cruise ships because they'll go like 100 miles offshore, and then you're no longer within the jurisdiction of the law. So you can sell that art for XYZ, and there's no taxes, no nothing as well, but also you don't have to document probably the sale. Kind of not talked about. Oh wow, you actually got like whole canvases and pictures.
Okay, I'm
That's
back.
cool.
What?
I was just saying, I didn't expect you to come back with like canvases.
Oh yeah, Des
That's
loves
neat.
painting. Des likes painting in oil. So I'm going to say right now, when you ask me if there's, I don't is derivative, that I don't think art is art that's not derivative. One of the first things that popped into my mind is Dez's art, because Dez has, well, you can say, oh, what she's drawing might be, oh, she's drawing animals, or she's drawing this, or she's drawing that. Like, yeah, obviously, her artistic style is something that I have not really seen, before, at least in the commonplace enough to say that it is derivative. But like, there's this, and if you look closely at it, you can see that there is texture to it. And this is one that she just took a canvas and started doing stuff with it, and it came out as this really weird demonic unicorn thing. You can see that one.
Looks awesome. Very cool.
This one you can see it a lot better. You can kind of see the texture better. But like, she does this paint and creates a very textured art that is in her kind of like, I don't know, eldritch nature kind of style, because she she tends to draw things that animals, but fucked up as if they're eldritch horror animals. So I would say, like, in that sense, I would say her art isn't really derivative. And I've dated pretty much exclusively artists, so I've seen like
you've seen quite a few.
I've seen a lot of art, and a lot of their art, a lot of my artists, and it's not to insult them, I would say is derivative. It's their own unique style, but it is a style that's derivative of another style. Dez's art is one of the first times I've ever seen art like. So I would say, like, hers really cool. Is not derivative, but that also might just be she's my girlfriend, and I think she's so.
Yeah, you're probably pretty biased. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but so that's that would, yeah. I think art, it's possible for art to be non-derivative in different ways. I think art is inherent. When I say art is derivative, I don't mean that art is copying other art. Art is copying life.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. And AI is not alive. You can't do that.
Yeah. So, well, AI doesn't create anything new. AI does not create anything new. AI just takes what it has seen. And that's the difference between, like, a true artificial intelligence, like, you know, we reach the singularity level of intelligence, versus what we have now that we call AI. Is AI is just a neural network that takes all the information that it's received and just it reiterates it, it barfs it out in a way that makes sense to us.
Yeah, it's like server vomit.
Yeah, but it's not capable of creating anything that is truly new.
Yeah. Actually, you brought up a good. You probably didn't realize it, but Dez's artwork is a great example of how you can tell what is a real piece of art and not. Because nowadays they even just they make a printed canvas and then they'll just put like fake brush strokes on it and try to sell it off as OG. And it's like, are you serious? Like, this is so obvious. But to the everyday person that they're not familiar with that, they look at it like, oh, that's painted, and it's like, no, it's not.
No,
they print it on a canvas, they put it on a thing, and then they just put fake gloss over it or something on it to make it look like they brushed on it when they haven't done nothing.
Yeah,
and they probably didn't even do it. They probably got some lackey, unfortunately, some poor intern working modern slavery over there, just brushing on with gloss.
Yeah, like, I have a screen printing kit. And I'm decent enough at doing it. If I wanted, I could take a piece of art and recreate it 1,000 times with zero effort.
Yeah. I think people get confused partially that when you screen print, the process of screen printing, if you're doing it to replicate something, I would not consider that part an art form.
No.
If you're doing it to manipulate something, I think that might be considered an art form. But if your subject is stolen or taken from somebody else, then that's not an original art form, even if you have manipulated it.
Yeah. It is an interpretation of that art. But again, you are not the creative. You are... Actually, you know what? Hold on.
The plagiarism laws is something has to be at least 70%.
What?
The laws on plagiarism is... for it to be considered something new, it has to be 70% different.
Yeah. I realize now this is going to turn into 2 videos because there's going to be the Power World video, and then there's just going to be us talking about art. I'm going to do 2 videos out of this.
No, that's great.
One second.
The art world is
But
a
I'm gonna
very
grab
confusing
Des
place.
to come in because I know she has specific and opinions about art.
Oh my! Did something
Wait,
happen?
I'll be right back.
I'm somewhat of an artist, but I haven't done anything in like 5 years. I used to paint when I was doing some art, though. My siblings think I should do pottery because of some stuff I did my senior year. That's fantastic, Triana. Yeah, I mean, pottery's fantastic. Also, you can make some really cool art that's even you can use. That's the cool part with pottery. I love seeing like you go to like I went to a Ren fair and they had someone making like ceramic mugs, but they made it like dragon scale style. It's really cool. Um, but I love ceramic mugs too. They're great. But yeah, painting. There's so much you can do. There's so many different styles. So
Okay, so Des
that's
is
really nice.
about to join us. What's up?
Oh, someone in your chat was mentioning how they used to do art, and I was just commenting.
Oh my
You
god,
know
I
what
have
they
not been paying attention to chat.
Ah, you're
I am
fine.
so sorry. I have not been. I'm somewhat of an artist, but I haven't done anything in like 5 years. I used to paint when I was doing some art, though. My siblings think I should do pottery because of some stuff I did my senior year. Yeah, I'm not a good artist at all. Like I would watch, like all my exes have been artists, and I'd watch them do art, and I loved watching them do art. I love watching my partners do art because it's something that's so foreign to have that skill to me and it's something I can't replicate. I have a very engineering mindset where like I can figure out how to make a thing work, but when it comes to like it's like the same thing when like a hairstylist is cutting my hair and like there's that part in the middle of a haircut where it looks fucking awful and you're just like, "Oh my god, this is so bad." But they trust the process, they can see what it's going to be like at the end. I don't have that. Um but like when it comes to like engineering and how am I going to make this thing work, or like one of the reasons why I really like coding is because like I can figure that out, but I don't have an artistic mind at all. Um,
And
but
that's why you found a partner that does.
yeah, exactly. But I know. Okay, so Des is in the chat now. Can you hear us, Des?
Hey,
Oh,
Des.
Okay, I need to turn you down because I adjusted all my volumes earlier. And that's why you guys were so quiet for a while there, and I'm gonna have to adjust that in post, and that's gonna annoy me. But um. So I brought Des in because now we're talking about we've gone on to the artistic integrity and AI art and copyrightable art and is taking someone's art and changing it a little bit. Is that creative? And is Andy Warhol worthy of calling himself an artist for screen printing, copies of shit that he didn't create because he's a piece of shit that with no creative integrity and was probably just being used for money laundering. And I know Des has specific opinions about that because she is an artist that has in the past had people steal her art and pass it off as her own or
Oh,
yeah.
that's horrible. I'm so sorry to hear that, Des. Do you mind sharing with us what happened?
um, sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
It's okay.
Um,
That sounds awful, though. It wasn't someone you knew. Oh God, I hope it wasn't someone you knew
No, it
that did
was.
it.
It was.
Oh no,
for
that's even
5 years.
worse.
Um, this particular person was under the impression that the way that they created things, they often piggybacked off the work of another artist, whether
Why are you
another
guys cutting out
person
so
who
much from me? Let me figure out if I can fix this real quick.
Well, I hear her just fine.
Yeah,
How's the chat doing? People in chat, do you mind? Can you hear us okay?
I'm going to change this a little bit. Okay. Okay, now maybe that fixed it. Okay, go on.
So he would take the concept or take something like a board game, for example, and in his mind he was improving on it. He was putting his own creative touches on a concept that he did not come up with on his own, that he did not do the work to create, and he thought that in him touching it at all, he was just inherently making it better by expanding on certain parts of it, or in my case, he would take these characters that I spent a long, long time creating and designing, and he would take them and he would water them down to fit into his own personal idea of what he believed they should have been, and was under the impression that was somehow better. And in his own mind, thought that it was a compliment. that he was taking a concept or a piece of art or a game or a character that did not belong to him, putting his own personal touches on it and seeing it as a compliment to the artist.
Yikes.
Which leans
Um,
back into that phrase of imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That's not the full phrase. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. That's the full phrase.
He
Yeah.
was somebody who valued the concept of art but never understood it. He doesn't get the basic principle of what it means to be an artist, but because behind a lot of art pieces there stems some kind of emotion, some kind of very deep, empathetic emotion that is often portrayed on a canvas or in a digital piece or in a game or really anything that somebody uses to create a piece. There's emotion there. There's a thought process. What he does is mockery, and I never really had the exact words or the ability to describe it to him in a way that made sense to him because he was so.
It's kind of an insult, right? It's like, here I
It
spent
was
all this time creating this, and you've turned it into whatever this thing is.
And just the level of, okay, so you think that your a milk toast addition to this has somehow improved upon this thing that has an emotional, mental, physical value to me. You think that I needed your help to make this thing when this has meaning to me.
it was so deeply upsetting, and I couldn't find the words or the ability to describe why it bothered me so much. And the only thing he could really see is that I was getting agitated with him taking these things that I spent so much time on and then distorting it and changing it to being something it was never supposed to be. And it bothered me especially because of a specific character that I created that was a representation of of me. It's kind of the physical manifestation of the way that I process my feelings, and he took this character and just ruined her.
This
Just
is this is also something you might be able to appreciate on a different level too, Mask, because Mask is creating his own TTRPG system. If y'all didn't know that, but this guy was also trying to create his own D&D TTRPG type system, because I know who she's talking about.
Oh yeah, when she was saying that, I was like, okay, interesting. I can relate, but I've gone so far out of the box to call what I'm doing now related to D&D. But the thing is, if it's a TTRPG,
Yeah.
like people, I could show it to people and they would be like, oh, it's like D&D. I'd be like, no, it's different, but it's
Yeah.
a TTRPG, right? I'm like, well, yes, in a sense, but also no, it's got all these other things in it.
Yeah.
But
And
I feel like what Des is talking about is it would be like if my players made a character that was really important to them, because there was no matter what, if you're making good art, it has a piece of yourself in it, and then taking what they've made and then injecting that into my designs
Yeah.
and my stuff without their permission, I think is a big part. He should have at least asked you if it would be okay.
he thought of it as a he took it as like a surprise for me. Here, I'm doing you a favor. Look how I included you.
Yeah,
Is
that's
the
like
way
someone.
he.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. I actually, again, with my inability to properly express myself through words verbally, I actually wrote a very. I'm actually pretty happy with it. A pretty good poem or story, short story, I think. Not really sure what you'd call it, but that gave communication to something I was struggling to even understand myself. Literally, the first line of it is, "Everything you've ever created was built on the backs of better men."
Yeah. And from my understanding too, like, and I think you kind of said it now, but from my understanding too, Des, when you explained it to me, it was a lot of he took the character because he liked the design or he liked the basics of it, but then he kind of bastardized it so it was no longer your character, but he was saying it was.
Yeah.
It no longer represented what that character meant to you. Is my understanding of like kind of how you've explained it to me.
Yes. It wasn't. It didn't even just go to the character specifically. It was something so pretentious about the way that he would analyze art.
Well, I mean, the fact he used your art without your permission, it seems like his
Mhm.
ego was quite, inflated.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiana says in the chat, that guy has no idea of a person's artistic spirit, and I hate people like him. Amen.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's because I can't understand art, and in the same way that an artist would, in the fact that I can't create art. I have creativity to me. I like writing. I like doing world building. That's really my art. I'm really good at that, but I can't understand like how to do physical art in the way that a physical artist can. Um, and it's like, but I have a respect for it. I have a huge respect for it, and the fact that I can't understand it, and the fact that every brushstroke has meaning a lot of times, and sometimes you might just be creating art that's just whatever. But like every brushstroke has some sort of emotional meaning usually, to some degree, because what you're creating is a piece of your soul, like you said, Mask. And then there are people like that they don't have an appreciation for it in that way. They don't respect art. They want to judge it, and I think they want to judge it because they can't understand it. So they want to be able to belittle and bring down something on, oh well, their technique is really bad, they're whatever, but they're creating something and you're not. They are able to. It might not be even if it's not the best technique. They are creating something that is unique and whole and special to them, and you are incapable of creating your own fucking sandwich. Like, who the fuck are you?
I keep thinking about this time when I went to a museum with this person, and there was something about I started getting really agitated.
I
I couldn't
remember this
explain why.
because you texted me to tell me about this. Was before we were dating, and you texted me to tell me how pissed off you were.
Like I couldn't like put the words to why it was so agitating the way that he was sitting there and analyzing these pieces like he fucking understood.
Mm.
Because so much of it was like, no, one, you're not getting it, and two, the fact that you're sitting there and applying meaning to something that you I mean, the whole point in art is to cause a conversation. It's to cause the viewer to feel something, right? And the way that he went about it was felt disrespectful. It's not like he was sitting there and like criticizing the art pieces, being like, "Oh, this is garbage" or anything. It was the way he'd sit there and dissect it.
He was
Like he
acting
was
as if
trying.
he had any fucking right to an opinion on it. And you have a right to say this. You have a right to an opinion on it, but acting like your opinion is so much more valid. Like as if they have to prove something to him. Like those artists had to prove something to him, as if he was the person they needed to impress.
Yes, that's a fantastic way of putting it. It's like this wasn't made just for you. I don't understand. I couldn't understand why it was so agitating, but everything about his movements, from the him leaning down, putting his hands behind his back, puzzling, like trying to dissect this piece of work in front of him and not acknowledging it for what it is, felt so gross and
This is
it,
very selfish.
Yeah,
it felt like he was
arrogant.
interrogating every single piece.
It's incredibly arrogant. It's like I appreciate art, but I would never, in the most case, I'm judging Andy Warhol, but I'm not judging Andy Warhol on the quality of his art. I'm judging him on the integrity of his art, because he didn't create, he just copied. But like, I would never go to a museum of artists and then have a single thought in my mind that I had the right to judge the quality of their art. The only artist I judge the quality of their art is Jackson Pollock, because literally you are if a fucking elephant with a paintbrush can recreate what you did perfectly, yeah, it's not art. That is money laundering, and you goddamn know it. How fucking dare you? And I wouldn't have much of a problem with with Jackson Pollock if my fucking 10th grade art teacher wasn't fucking in love with how great Andy or Jackson Pollock is. Like, fuck you. No, it's not.
And I think I figured it out. It wasn't necessarily the arrogance around it or how pretentious it was or even just how borderline disrespectful it was the fact that I knew that the only thought going through his goddamn mind was, how could I take this and how could I make it better?
Yeah,
That bugged me. That bugged me a lot, and I saw it in a lot of the things that he claimed to have created. Every single thing he had was built on the back of something else, something that already existed, that he took and was like, okay, so because I touched this, this is now inherently better than what it was.
it's a level of narcissism and arrogance that obviously he would be able to make it better. Obviously, of course, because he is better. He is better than all of them. He's better than everyone in the world. So they need his approval. They need his touch in order for it to be worthwhile.
And I don't know, I got really sensitive about that. So I apologize.
No, I don't blame you.
No. Yeah, you have nothing to apologize.
Yeah.
Even when I'm working on this TTRPG stuff that I'm working on, am I aiming for it to be better than Dungeons & Dragons? No, I just want it to be good enough to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point. It's for us to have fun, to have a good time.
Yeah.
So much of it is about respect for what came before.
Yeah. And there's the thing too is I've seen and I'll say this, I've seen, and me not being an artist but having dated several artists and watching them work on their stuff, I have seen more artists get frustrated with themselves, end up doing too much with looking at their art and being like, how do I make this perfect? How do I make this better? How do I make this perfect? And then they just do a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden they hate it. So the concept of, oh, this asshole knows what needs to be done to make it perfect. No, there's no such thing as perfect art, and that's just something you have to accept. But this guy coming along and being like, well, I can fix it, is without even understanding the artistic vision, without understanding what it was supposed to be.
I think.
That
what were you
sorry,
gonna
go
say,
ahead.
Des? No, where were you gonna go?
No, please, you.
We're not having
No,
a
you-
politeness battle, Des. You go.
That unicorn that Zach showed off, which I do appreciate. That one actually formed because of frustration I was having with something underneath all the black on that canvas. I just got really upset by the way that it was turning out and just started smearing a bunch of paint around and ended up making that on accident.
Yeah. I watched you make it, and I remember too, because I remember you kind of like judging yourself for that and being like, well, that was an entire accident. But like that's kind of what every great creation in existence has ever been. Do you know how gunpowder was? Do either of you know how gunpowder was discovered? How phosphorus for gunpowder was discovered?
Somebody blowed themselves up, I imagine?
Nope.
No, it's from potash, which is from water and ash. So I think they left it and it dried. Right. It would be
One of the
accident.
early ways they learned to make it was an alchemist thinking that if he boiled piss, it would turn into gold because they're the same color. They're the same color. So yeah, like that was a complete fucking accident. At least on the European side, that was a complete fucking accident. But they discovered something that was incredibly useful. Now, would the world be better if they never discovered gunpowder? Who's to say? But like, and I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like, yes, Des, that was a complete mistake that you made, but it created you made that mistake. You made the mistake of accidentally messing with the canvas in that way, and then you saw the vision in it, and you created something out of it. Because I watched you do that, and yeah, it was initially a mistake, but then you took that mistake, you learned from that mistake, and then you used it to create something that looks amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. By the way, it was really nice.
And that is,
I appreciate that.
yeah, and that is because maybe it'll take you a while to learn how to recreate that perfectly, how to recreate that style perfectly, but you learned how to do something. You organically, with no one telling you how, made a mistake, turned it into something great, and now can go and try to recreate that mistake. And you recreate that mistake enough, and it's not a mistake, it's a style. And it's the style that is unique to you.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So that's my thought on it. because she was way too hard with herself about that, about not even knowing how to redo that, and was like, no, yeah, you might not know how to redo it, but you took a mistake and you made something great out of it. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was the process itself that led you up to that, you know. So, another thing though that I'd like to point out is just because some art pieces are worth more than others doesn't mean they're better
Oh yeah,
than others.
I mean,
Is that thing
Can
that's people
confirm.
see that such a bad light? It's like if you don't make money, it's not good. It's like what?
look at how much money McDonald's makes versus how good a handcrafted burger from home can be.
Oh man.
McDonald's makes a lot of money, but it's because McDonald's is familiar. McDonald's hits it's pop culture. It's okay, look at fucking YouTube. Look at Twitch. Look at any creative space. Really, the thing that's really popular isn't always the thing that's the best. It's just the thing that is the most familiar. And I remember talking to you about this, Des, of like your art is such a unique style and creative style that it's not going to resonate with everyone the same way like chibi art does. Like you'll see 1,000 creators for like Twitch or YouTube or avatars for this or that create chibi art, and it's better than something I can do, but it's low effort. It's low effort art. It's not like I'll say it's not like technically great. It doesn't hit a lot of these technical things, and it doesn't take the amount of skill and talent that like your art requires. But it's just going to sell more because it's the popular thing and it's familiar to people. But there's an advantage to it not being familiar. You're not recreating something. You're not copying a style. You're not derivative. And maybe you are derivative in some ways because everything can be derivative. Like a lot of your art centers around animals, so you're derivative of evolution because evolution created animals. Sure. But your style is not derivative. Your style is something that you cultivated on your own. You didn't go to a class and have someone teach you how to draw and then just continue to do that forever. You didn't watch your friend draw and then continue to do that forever. You created something that is unique to you. That if you were to get famous, if you were to start selling a lot of art, an art historian would be able to look back in the future and say, yes, that is 100% a Desdemona piece of art because it is so unique to you. Where if you look at a lot of this art that sells for a lot of the the emo art, the Twitch like emo art or avatar art, no one's gonna be able to tell you who the fuck created that in 50 years. No one's gonna know because there's 1,000 pieces like that.
Yep. I think that's why Rest of the Soul, Kurt Cobain was so upset when his music started going mainstream.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, great, now everybody's going to sound like us. I don't want that. I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah. and there's a level of like being able to take art, be it physical art, be it music, be it whatever, and say, I really like this style. I'm going to learn how to do that, but then I'm going to make it my own. I'm going to learn how to do that so I can put my own flair on it, my own twist on it. I can make it my own. And I can respect that because, again, a lot of art is derivative, but you got to make it your own. If you are just copy pasting fucking there's a reason why like wedding bands don't make it big. Because they aren't doing anything unique. They're literally doing the thing that the popular band did verbatim. Yeah. And that's great, but it's not unique. It's not special. You are not creative. You are a copycat. And it's talent. There is talent in that. There is talent in being able to mimic, but it's not creative. It doesn't have a creative flair, a creative soul to it. It is just impersonation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting the positive reinforcement for.
Des, I'm trying to come up with a joke I can say that wouldn't be mean.
It's now a compliment Des stream.
Des, your
I'm kind of stinky right now. You can say that.
Oh, great.
You're no, because that would be mean to you too. I'm trying to think of something that is like about you, but like you wouldn't be offended if I jokingly said you could work on improvement on this.
Des, I got one. Des, the way you eat glizzies is kind of aggressive.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, yes it is. Yes, it fucking is. Also, Des, the way she eats hot dogs, she eats it like fucking like sideways sometimes. And one, she just like she'll sometimes have like a sausage just and throw it. She doesn't even chew it or enjoy the food. It's just the food is now in her stomach. Why do you do that? Also, every time you have hot dogs, one, you cook 4 hot dogs. Every time you have hot dogs, you cook 4 hot dogs. You eat 3 of them.
Or
She
are they like the big size ones?
no,
or,
no,
like,
no, no, no. They're
size?
regular sized ones.
Oh God, thank goodness.
But like she cooks 4 of them, but it's also fun because she doesn't eat all 4 of them. She eats 3 of them, and then she'll put the plate in the sink, and there will be pieces of hot dog bun on it because if she refuses to eat hot dog if there is not a specific hot dog bun. First of all, she refuses to eat hot dogs if there's not a specific hot dog bun. But then if she runs out of hot dog but there's still bun left, she just throws away the bun. So
it's important to have a good weenie to bun ratio.
You waste food. That's what I'm saying.
Wait! I need that an out of context quote.
Yeah, hold on. I clipped that. I clipped that so we can make that a soundbite.
You need to have a good weenie to bun ratio. I'm not apologizing.
It's fair. Yeah. There you go. That's something you can improve on. You can improve on your eating habits. How about that?
Like
I can improve on that. I peel my hot dogs.
Maybe it's part of her artistic vision that she has to. You know, it's like a ritual. You have to have the hot dog.
What's
sideways.
another thing that you eat that I've complained about the way you eat it? Because I know there's like
I eat bananas with the peel on.
What?
She does.
Demon.
She does. She eats bananas with the peel on. She does do that. I've seen her do that.
Wait. Do you cut it?
No.
And then, like, pull the peel?
No.
You eat the peel.
Think of the most animalistic way of doing things, and a lot of times that is the way Des does. Oh, you know what? You could work on the way you.
Your head?
You could work on the way that you open packets of sugar, that you open bags of sugar.
I'm not going to apologize.
Because if you had a bag of brown sugar mask, how would you open it?
Like you rip the top open.
You rip the top open, yes, or you use scissors.
Yeah.
She opens them so that they're flat on like the thing, and she opens it from like where the nutrition pack is. But it's just you can't seal it back up, is what I'm getting at.
What do you do? Stored it? Like what do you?
Nope,
Why
she doesn't put it in container.
Yeah, Triana. She eats it with the peel on.
She eats it with the peel on.
It's a God.
There you go. Have you gotten an adequate amount of not support for it to be?
Do you feel better? Do
you feel better now that we've roasted you a little bit?
I actually do.
Okay, good.
It reminds me of home.
Oh, okay.
You walk out the door later. They're eating a banana.
Oh my fucking god!
Stares
There's
down and predominant.
There's I will say that has been the weirdest thing, and it's not like it's like a pet peeve. It's not like it upsets me, but every time I see the way she eats certain things, it's like, oh my fucking god.
I mean, if I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, oh, where's my fiance? And I go out to the couch and it's like a darkly lit, and she's over there just like manhandling a banana. I would be terrified.
Des, should I
go back to bed without saying anything?
Should I tell Stream about the most upsetting thing that you do when it comes to your favorite beverage?
I mean, we could talk about the. There was a while there where I used to eat steak with just gloves on.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't use a fork. I had to start telling her I need you to please start using a fork and knife to eat steak, because she would just I'd cook steak and she would just pick it up and start tearing at it like with her hands, so she'd have to wear gloves. And I was like, this is something I need you to do for me. I need you to use a fork and knife to eat steak.
Small steak or like
like a pound steak. It could be a pound steak, a big steak. I'd cook a big old steak. And that's just how she did that. She also drinks A1 sauce.
Oh my.
It's really good.
So Triana in chat says, I can't say much. I eat shrimp with the tail on.
Oh my god, why? Why? What is wrong with you people?
I've never eaten a shrimp with the tail on.
I am so upset right now. Why?
I'm gonna need therapy again.
I had a therapy appointment this morning, and I'm gonna need to call him up and say, hey, man, can we meet tomorrow, please?
I've never knew there was so much food torture on the internet.
Oh my god, that's so upsetting.
And women tell that we are cavemen.
Because
No,
it's one thing. It's
men are
one thing to
just
eat the
as
steak with your hands, fine, whatever. But the banana with the peel on, and the shrimp with the tail on, and the peanuts with the shells on—that's a sin. I'm not even religious, but you're going to hell.
I mean,
got
this-
some peanuts with the shell.
Yeah, I mean, the shells like literally just become like little pieces of like sharp cardboard.
It's
Once
like
you start
oh,
chewing
I think
them.
and it has the hairs. It has the little tiny hairs. Like
Okay, yeah. Hopefully, we gotta find. I will eat raw potato like.
I can't
Alright,
talk shit. I've done that.
Can I
I watched him do
vote
that.
to ban?
I've put like I put like salt. I've done that before. I put like salt. I peel a raw potato. I peel it.
Raw?
Yeah, I peel a raw potato, put a little bit of salt on it. I've done that. My mom does that with tomatoes. She'll eat a tomato like an apple and put a little salt on it. I kind of do the same thing with yeah.
Potato.
I'll do the same thing with like an avocado where I'll peel the skin off of it and I'll eat it like an apple.
Those are both soft, but a potato is like.
Yeah, well, you don't you got to get the right potato.
Oh, is there certain potato? You
Some
have to do?
some
Sorry.
potatoes are harder than
Enlighten the
others.
rest of-
Some
Yeah, you
potatoes are
gotta
harder
enlighten
than
the rest
others.
of us. You sound like a hobbit.
They're good. I don't do it all the time, but okay. Here, I'm gonna out myself real quick. You want to know the weird thing that I do? That I have done, and I like it was when I had first started seeing. I didn't even think about it too much, but when I had first started like talking to one of my exes at one point, she lived a distance away. She lived like an hour away, and we were video chatting while I was doing my meal prep for the week. And I had gone through all the onion that I had needed for my meal prep for the week, and I still had about half an onion left. So while I'm just divvying everything up, I take a bite out of the onion, and we're in the middle of talking, and she's saying something. She stops. She goes, "What did you just do? What are you talking about?" I was like, "What did you just eat?" I was like, "It's an onion. You just ate. You took a bite out of a raw onion." I was like, "Yeah, why?" It's like, "Why would you do that?" It's like, "It's good. I like it." So I will do that. To avoid
I have watched him
onion
do that.
waste, I will just eat a raw onion, and it's perfectly fine for me.
Huh.
I've watched him do it.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I don't doubt the authenticity
yeah.
of the claim.
But I would still argue that is better than banana with the peel on, or shrimp with the tail on, or peanut with the shell on, because at least onion is something that you'll cut up onion and you'll put it on a sandwich. You eat raw onion. You just don't eat it like an apple. No one eats peanut shell. No one eats banana peel. You know who eats banana peel? The fucking worms in a compost bin. That's who eats banana peel.
I don't even think the monkeys at the zoo.
No,
when
they
get
peel
bananas,
it!
eat the
They peel it!
They peel it.
Like,
Well, this really spiraled out of
I
control.
don't know what we started talking about Power World and then creative integrity of artists, and now it's just weird fucking habits.
I
about-
just want to thank Des before she just abandons all hope. Thanks, Des,
Mm-hmm.
for talking with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love you.
Run while you can.
But how dare you? How fucking dare you?
Do the best I can here, man. I've
mean,
only recently moved on from like eating stuff out of the trash.
What? Well, first off, do you ever just like look at yourself in the mirror and just go, "I'm craving a banana with the peel on right now," and I'm just gonna go.
We have bananas, Des. Do you want to show them this? I don't know if
No.
they might be bad. They might be bad.
I think we might have to blur that image.
Let
You're
me.
gonna get fucking. You're gonna get banned.
I'm gonna get banned,
I've heard-
and it's gonna the Twitch is gonna tell me why I got banned. It's not for any like sexualness or any TOS violation. It's just because we don't like that. It's just gonna be we don't that clip. They'll show the clip like we didn't like that. We didn't like that at all.
Violence.
I wasn't a
Violent
fan of that, you know.
It's violence against my mind. It's violence against my heart. My soul has been attacked by what happened there.
All right, now if we look at this, Venom just said, "I ate ramen straight from the bag without boiling them."
Why would you do that?
My
I've
little
actually
sister
heard
does
that
that.
before, unfortunately.
It has no taste.
I've
I
seen
get
people use
the
it as
people, and they talk about it
construction.
on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've seen people like, and I've heard of it where you put a little bit of it on top of the cooked ramen to add a little bit of crunch, but not all the ramen.
No, you eat it like chips. That's what my little sister does. That. That's what she says she does. You're supposed to eat it like with So you get the bag, you crush it up with a hammer or like any blunt object, and then you like sprinkle the seasoning inside the bag, shake it
Okay,
around, and then
so-
you got chips.
I'm getting 3 videos out of this. I'm getting the Power World video. I'm getting the Creative Integrity video. I'm getting the weird shit my girlfriend does with food video. Ah!
I mean, I like how you're documenting your decline to madness. This would
No,
be great
it's
for
fucking.
later.
Listen, this is. I need to just send my stream to my therapist. I need.
I wasn't feeling that great. This does not help. Oh, Pancake, what happened? You need to talk about it, man?
The peanut thing I've been doing since I was a kid, probably autism related. I can't break the habit. You don't get to blame your autism on that.
Hold on now. Hold
Like,
on now.
the majority of my community is autistic.
The autism subreddit pulls up. Apparently now we eat peanuts with the shells on,
I
guys.
don't. Yeah. Apparently now. Yeah. Fuck you. No. Fuck you. You don't get to blame all your crimes on autism. That's one you don't get to do.
I like how you called it a crime.
It's a crime.
I blame
Yeah.
my crimes on my. On
Everyone
my
in my community, at least, is neurodivergent of some sort, and you're the only one that does that. We love you. We accept you, but you're going to jail.
Yeah, Pancake, the idea of eating raw ramen sounds awful. I'm not surprised. I wonder what Pancake...
I've done it too, just like because I've gotten a little bit of ramen where I'm like, I'm going to see how this tastes. Nope, I hate it. It's not something I continue to do.
Yeah, it's dehydrated. Like,
I
Wow.
like my noodles a little al dente, but not like that. As a bit to mess with Des the other day when I was making spaghetti, I took a raw piece of spaghetti and bit it in front of her because it was upsetting, and I thought it was funny. But
Oh.
you just do that.
I was wondering
Yeah.
why you were banned in Italy today.
Yeah, no, I've been told I can't come back. They're not okay with me anymore.
You know,
You eat raw.
Pretty real.
You eat raw pasta too,
Pancake? What? But that not as a meal. What do you mean? You just as a
So it's a snack. So that's a little treat. It's one thing to do as a meal because you could call that like a struggle meal. Like
No,
if
no,
you're
whoa, whoa,
struggling
whoa.
so hard that you can't even afford the water for your ramen, that's a struggle meal, I guess. But you do it as a little treat. You do it as a little treat. Like that's how you you make your day better.
Wait, what do you mean you have it as a treat? You just like getting the bow ties and you just snack on 'em like chips?
It's chips.
Okay,
feel like
pancake.
this
That's
makes
coming out. He
sense.
said no. When I make pasta, I will crunch a few of them. That almost feels more like a stimming thing to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Pancake, I think you might pass this time for once.
Raw ramen. Okay, Triana is also on your side, Venom. Raw ramen is pretty good. I only do it when I'm super lazy. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna create a new
Oh, no.
Discord.
no.
I'm creating a new role in the Discord that is gonna be one that stands out, and it's gonna be Sinners, and it's you.
Can we? What do we just call it? Food Wars, and we just put that anime where people orgasming over food.
What's the one? Fighting Foodons. That's the Pokemon knockoff. What their food? I still need to watch that. I've heard about it. I still need to watch it.
They're gonna be copyright sued. Better not. They're not gonna be around for much longer.
Yeah, no, goddamn. Yeah, I'm surprised Pokemon hasn't gone after them, to be honest, because it's literally just a parody of Pokemon, but with food.
Well, I think they're replacing Pokemon Showdown with this new Pokemon Champions
Hmm,
for sure.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm upset. My day's been ruined. I just wanted to come
Hooray.
on and talk about the Power World Nintendo shit. Then we got into a conversation about artistic integrity that was at least nice. And now I might need to find a new girlfriend because I am upset.
The old one's gonna find you.
You're literally in the other room. Dude, I
Yeah.
already have horse girl. I already have been punished enough. You are a horse girl, Venom. We determined, I don't think you were there for it, Mass, but we determined that car guys are the horse girls of men.
Yeah.
I guess that makes
And
sense.
Venom's a car guy.
Yeah, well, Venom. Sometimes I'm gonna say the quote from Barbie. Once I found out patriarchy wasn't about horses, I didn't really care about it anymore.
Fair. To be fair, sword boys are also the horse girls of men, and I have at least 2 swords within 15 feet of me.
Don't forget the fedora.
You
I
got
know
the
what
whole,
you are.
What is that? The Mall Ninja starter pack?
Yeah, Mall Ninja starter pack. Well, I don't have a katana. I refuse to own a katana.
Wow,
Oh,
you're
that's
missing
where
out.
you draw the line.
Yep.
It was a
It's
katana.
Christmas.
Yep. Oh, fucking Christ. The funny thing, I'm actually having butterfly shrimp for dinner. Just put them in the oven. Okay, take the fucking tails off.
Look, you know what? Wait. I gotta ask this, Triana, about your shrimp. Do you at least take like the poop thing out of them, like
poop
of the
string?
shrimp? Yeah. Like you got. There's a word for it when you take
The
the thing out of
deveining.
the
You devein the shrimp.
deveining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you at least devein your shrimp before you eat the tails? We'll find out.
Yeah.
Probably after.
The YouTube's about 30 seconds
Really?
behind Twitch, so it's gonna be. We'll find out in a little bit. Yeah, because that would be. Oh God. Because like I've had shrimp that wasn't had the tail removed, and I just bite to the part where the tail is, and use the tail as a handle. The tail's a handle. I don't eat the tail.
I usually yank it off.
But that was a
Which I
weird
get
thing in like bodybuilding culture for a while, or at least in the supplement culture of bodybuilding, where they were trying to sell like chitin capsules because that's what the shell's made out of. Chitin capsules because it was under the argument like, oh, it'll absorb lipids and carbohydrates, and you'll pass it out as poop, so you'll be absorbing less of the food that you eat, so it'll be better for you. I was like, I that one died almost immediately. I just remember when that started becoming a thing. Veiny shrimp, how dare you? How dare you, Pancake? Why are you guys upsetting me?
He's saying that while eating some pasta right now, just crunching away.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, hey, Pancake, I saw your new video you put out. It was like a short of you playing, what was it, PUBG? Wasn't bad for once. It was a good video.
I forgot to mention this earlier when I got home with the stuff from National Pancake Day. I accidentally grabbed the sugar that has the spider living in it.
You know, we wouldn't have sugar with a spider living in it if you opened the sugar in a way that I could reclose.
Did you know? Did I not tell you that there's a spider that lives in the
No, you
granulated
didn't.
sugar?
You didn't, and I use the sugar more than you, so thank you.
Yeah, there's a spider that lives in there.
Oh my god. Triana's
I almost put 'em
assuming
in
that
the
they're
pancake bag.
deveined because they're breaded from Aldi. Okay, so they don't have the tail on them.
I almost put them in the pancake batter earlier today.
It's a Rust video.
Oh,
Mask.
Rust. That's right. It was Rust.
You should
not
have served
PUBG.
the spider one to Obi.
I did think about. Ow, kitty, no.
Also, Pancake can't fly a copter in that game worth of shit. Just remember that.
Okay.
I just saw his comment, so I was replying back.
I'll make a note of that.
Yeah. Write it in your journal.
Yeah.
Make sure we remind him. Yeah.
Christ. This is not at all where I expected any of this to go today. You recording Daisy today? Nice.
You're like 20 years late for that game.
Some games are good on the replay. I mean, fucking. I just saw people recently starting to put out Subnautica videos.
Oh my
Leggy.
god. Subnautica?
Yeah, my first
It's
the
because
first
the second one's coming out soon.
yeah the very first video I put on YouTube was a Subnautica video. I currently have it privated.
I have a Subnautica video too. That's why I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that's a long time ago.
Let's see, it was the very first 3 videos I put out were Fallout New Vegas that I had like a shit ton of mods on. I put it out October 13th, October 20th, and October 25th. I put out the Fallout videos, and then I put out Fallout 4 on November 11th and November 12th. And then, Subnautica 1, titled Freaky Frickin' Fish, January 1st of 2016.
I mean, you're
never
right.
trust thumbnails.
I'll show you. Hold on, I'll show you the thumbnail. It was really bad.
Don't Google that, kids, or whoever's in chat. Don't Google freaky fish. You gotta get
I'm gonna
Kanye
Google it.
making out with some fish.
Yeah. Know that
I
I'm
mean,
a
it gives
gay
new,
fish.
New turn of phrase to sleeping with
is-
the
hold on,
fishes.
wait.
Am I right?
Yeah. No, God, I did just realize what you said.
This is the thumbnail.
Oh, that's glorious. I'm so glad you used AI now. Why aren't you should use this? We should need more of this.
I don't use AI. I created one background with AI, One time I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I just started actually creating my own thumbnails.
Yeah, we need to go back to that. We want that.
I'm
the
drawing a
cardboard cutout.
horse.
That was the. Oh wait, hold on. Here's the one for episode 5 of Subnautica. Stasis your faces. I got a stasis gun. Give me a second.
Stacy's mom has got it going on.
Ready for this?
Well, I'm excited to see what you come out with, Pancake.
There you
Good
go.
luck.
You seen
Oh
it?
yeah, dude, glorious.
Fucking
You just need a
fantastic.
title.
I had no idea how to use Photoshop.
You should just make a compilation of all these cringy kind of.
What I said is one day if I become popular enough, I'm going to I did 10 episodes of Subnautica. If I become popular enough, I'm going to do like a hey, I will whatchamacallit, I'll release all my old videos for a charity donation. Like if I reach a charity goal, I'll release my old videos.
Oh well.
Because God, they're bad. So bad.
It's okay, I still love you.
Man, that is the. Is that pity love? What?
Yeah, apparently.
More like Diddy love.
Oh God.
Okay, let's not do that.
Sorry.
Let's not.
It did rhyme though.
Yeah, let's
It
not.
It did. I'm sorry, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't think before I say a thing.
No, she doesn't. I keep saying she needs to be a streamer, but she would get like a banned immediately.
Yeah.
Either that, or she would get really, really fucking popular because just people are there for the unhinged shit.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's pretty much every Twitch streamer.
That's a lot of them. That is a lot of them. Oddly enough, I think I'm one of the least unhinged streamers.
I'm drawing a horse.
I think you're pretty up there, man.
It depends
I
on the
think
day.
you're-
It depends on the day.
I mean, I've heard you go on rants by yourself for hours.
That's true. That's true. I do that. I'm really good at
As
ranting.
somebody who's often in the other room for those rants, I can confirm that.
Pretty much Asmongold. Yep. Except Asmongold will pause the video 6 times, explain why he's dumb and his decision making is good. But yeah.
Yeah, and Asmongold has a level of arrogance about him a lot of times.
Well, yeah, he's got an entire incel army behind him.
Yeah. The fact that someone commented on one of my videos that Asmongold is the best political streamer out there, I'm like, bro, even he doesn't consider himself a political streamer. Even he doesn't consider himself a political streamer.
If that's the case, politics have gotten so dumb that Asmongold's the new standard. You
Yeah.
know what? I
Yeah.
guess that's just where we're at right now.
Apparently. I think I still need to eat today, so I think I'm gonna end on that. I'll say let me record my 3 outros, okay, real quick. Anyways, let's wrap up the Power Word conversation with this, and leave your opinions in the comments about this if you think we're right, if you think we're wrong, etc., etc. I'm totally not recording this after the fact because we went on several different rants. Anyways, look forward to the next rant video that happened. Okay, well, yeah, that's our thoughts on creative integrity and artistic integrity and what makes an artist from our very own friend artist here. But anyways, leave your comments on what you think is your opinions on the matter, and look out for the next rant. Okay, anyways, that's our talk on why my girlfriend's fucking insane and the weird shit that people eat, because who eats a banana with a peel on or peanut shells. Anyways, no more rants. Bye. Leave your comments on the weird things you eat.
I ate a man alive.
I'm scared to see that comment section.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna let me find someone to raid. We need to do more of this mask where we just get on and talk about shit. It's gonna be bad.
All right.
It's good. It goes well.
Yeah, I took the day off, so I didn't have anything to do this evening, so this was perfect.
You're still doing your Game Master stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to finish up this TTRPG thing.
Yeah.
But I asked everyone. I was like, I did like another round of like kind of questionnaires.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,